now starting streaming. Alright. Everybody. Yes, Varic doesn't share food is the best way to start this, I believe.
I vote that should be my shirt.
Yes.
I think it should be. I think when we do shirts for each individual character, then you most definitely 100% should have Varic doesn't share food. On the front or on the back, or just all over it in general, whatever.
I'd love to hear Varic shout out "Step away from the bagel" at some point.
Noted. I think this definitely should happen.
Guys, we should definitely do an archery contest at some point. I should throw the hole in a bagel.
I think that could be arranged.
All bets are on Arissa for outranging the ranger.
Well, the road she's going.
I mean, Arissa can outdo the paladin.
We'll just send you on a mission.
Right, the idea is that Arissa is a jack of all trades, master of none, right? Instead, she's like a master of everything. At paladining, at roguing, at rangering, probably. To be fair, if Arissa's the competition, I'm not sure Varic would shoot his best. You know how Varic has been behaving and such.
And the surprise is won a date with the bard.
Yes. I approve
If you
this.
can put that up as the prize, Varic would shoot the nearest child.
Twice. Just so nobody else does it.
So on the front it's saying Varic doesn't share food, and on the back it's saying Varic doesn't not shoot children.
and then of course there's also the set t-shirt with like Arissa shirt saying Varic no and Varic shirt saying Varic yes.
I think Arissa's
That
shirt
was
would
a
just say
really good idea.
stupid.
I'm sorry, what?
Your shirt
Seriously, I was
is
texting
going
I missed that.
probably best. Arissa and Varic are going to have some interesting shirts.
I will happily wear them every day.
So,
I think this should happen. We'll do it through a sporting website, and you guys can all have individualised t-shirts. It'll be great.
You know what Arissa and Varic should have? If found, return to Arissa.
Yes! And then I'm Arissa.
I am Arissa.
Yes!
yes.
Beautiful. I think this will be amazing. And they can wear them until they're old and grey. Beautiful.
So there's...
We should also sell rocks. So that we can say, oh, Sylvester.
Yes.
Yes! And then Fifi can turn up and be friends with you.
I also may have found a way that makes it actually possible to have a floating dock. It does involve some, like... I'm not sure. Is it allowed to take helium across the board?
I'm not sure, but we could potentially get you some here. We'll see.
Oh, that could work.
I mean, otherwise you could get a foam rock and a very thin, like, plastic rod that's, like, one of those see-through ones, and then you can attach that to, like, your butt, and then have it attached to the rock, and then a wire that attaches the rock on the string to you.
Oh, yes. That would be so cool.
Might be safe.
Also, flotation may vary.
I love it. I think you should also sell, like, little dog collars and leads for rocks. To anyone who's just joined us, I know there are going to be millions and millions of you, obviously, because as you know, we are the only people on the internet playing Dungeons and Dragons. Welcome. This is the Tuesday party, the Dungeons and Dragons group at Blunders Bothwellians, the Wounded Witch edition. This is Tuesday, episode 16, which is rather impressive.
Oh, that's better than what I had, Mark. I had many.
That is a good number.
Flotation may vary. Favourite comment so far. So, to recap what happened to you a couple of weeks ago, Well, DM's just going to read through her extensive page and a half of notes she took during this. All right. So, still in Crownside, the most impressive thing that happened last episode was Arissa finally got her spa day. She convinced all of the others to get her spa. Well, for a couple of hours she had her spa day. And for a couple of hours, all was right with the world, apart from Varic continuously eating the cucumber Arissa tried to put on his eyes. Everyone was relaxed, even the Vertharitas, and that was quite a large ask. Even Reedoo was allowing her to put cream on her face and just chill out, have a sort of manicure, and they had accumulated some magic items and some other items and some items that may or may not be magic, but they're not sure yet. And they were then interrupted slightly. Yes, Reedoo begrudgingly joined in, but she did have a great time, even if she won't admit it. You were then joined by a slightly, not quite drunk, I'm going to say tipsy, Him Dukeson, saying he was rather upset that the girl he loves, Emily Marksis, was trying on wedding dresses with her mother, ready to marry someone else, not him. He told you a little bit about Sharp and Rot and some of the history of the Tiles and Travis, and you guys learned a bit more about where this arranged marriage was coming from. You all then had a really chilled out evening in the spa, and absolutely nothing else happened until an assassin entered looking for Him Dukeson, having been hired by Sharp and Rot. There was a lot, and I've put this in massive capital letters, a lot of persuading going on, and I've also put hashtag Arissa with an R. You managed to talk the assassin down, convince him through various different means, although Varic tried to attack him, convince him that he was in fact working for the bad guy, and told him a little bit about Sharp and Rot. And when Emily Marksis came running in and gave Him Dukeson a very large hug and a very long lingering kiss while you all continued to talk, he realised that he maybe was on the wrong side after all. He gave you the coin and went looking for Sharp and Rot and disappeared. The spa day continued to go ahead, and Arissa has started to plan makeovers. The end of the episode was that you guys made... Yeah, Reedoo says she forgot that today would be the pretending to be a stinky human girl day. Well, it depends, because in the next 3 to 4 hours, you guys could get all the way to the end of your plan, or you could get distracted by something shiny, as proven by the plan. Now, there are 8 stages to this plan that I wrote down as you guys planned them. Are we ready?
Wait. I'm typing along.
Okay.
Stage 1.
So, stage 1, the plan. Stage 2, get this. Stage 3, profit.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan Vertharitas came up with.
It sounds like a Dungeon Master's plan, just at the end, profit. In the weeping of my players. It's always beautiful. It's better than gold. Okay, so, the plan. Step 1, sleep. Step 2, get Emily and him packed. Step 3, raid Treasury and Armoury, which is where you might get distracted by the shiny. Step 4, and this is in capital letters and in brackets, hashtag Arissa, hashtag Arissa Spa, hashtag Arissa Spa. Stage 4, makeovers. Raid makeovers.
Stage 4 was?
Stage 4 is makeovers. So basically, sleep, pack, raid, makeover, repeat. Okay, so
Yes.
step 4,
Stage 5,
that could be the group t-shirt. Step 4 is that could be the DM t-shirt. Step 4, makeovers. Step 5, smuggle Emily and him out of the city.
Wait, is it Emily or Emily? How did I write her name?
I love how we can just condense each step into one word.
So, sleep, pack, raid, makeover, smuggle is what we've got so far.
Yeah.
Oh, and I'll just put as well him Dukes as well, just so you've got both of those. Okay. Stage 6 is in 2 parts. Step 6, part 1, all leave the city. Part 2, Reedoo stays disguised as Emily.
Stage 6 is leave the city.
Yep. Is leave the city while
Leave without Reedoo.
Yep, while Reedoo stays as Emily. Fudge it up, fudge it up, fudge it.
That's almost Zone of Truthy, like chanting.
We can put that on the sleeves of Arissa's t-shirt. How about that?
On the back in like big font. Just
You know,
like
maybe
3
we should
lines
just
of
get you more
Zone of
patches
Truth.
and sew them onto your t-shirts. There's going to be too many things to put. It's going to be amazing. So yeah, stage 6, all leave city, Reedoo stays as Emily. So stage 6, leave and disguise. There we go. Stage 7, stage a kidnap. Reedoo leaves in the dead of night. I love it. So sleep, pack, raid, makeover, smuggle, leave, disguise, kidnap.
Perfect. I'm loving this.
And stage 8, leave,
Stage 8 is
fake,
bluff.
contract, framing, sharpen, rot.
Oh, so frame, which is confusing for Varic because it also means steal all the painting frames.
This is true. In fact, that should be a picture in your slideshow of things, I think. Oh no, I put Varic doesn't share food instead.
That one is also good. I just realized that crowbar could be useful.
Yes. See, now you're getting close to level 5. You may find it good to look at all your equipment and maybe drop some things you don't need and maybe pick up some things that you do and maybe use things and more things.
We might need to take a look at like how many things to carry and such. Yeah.
To the paladin.
Yes. and of course the army of horses that we have.
Yeah, you do have a very small army of horses.
We need a cart. With a jacuzzi.
Perhaps you
We'll
can
have to
steal
probably
the
take
cart
Miss
while you're
Reedoo's
escaping.
horse with. I was just thinking, it's like the rest of us are leaving during the day. Miss Reedoo is leaving in the middle of the night.
Wait, is she?
Well, I'm leaving with her because I'm kidnapping her.
Yeah.
Weren't we doing the kidnapping in the broad daylight so that people would see it?
Yeah, I'm leaving in broad daylight and then...
Oh, okay. You're gonna need your horse.
We could prepare the horses just outside of the city. Silence. Sorry, I don't do silence very well, so I say silence whenever it gets silent.
Can you guys...
Yes!
I'm on my iPad, so I'm going to try and do that until it runs out.
Yay!
Just for people who may or may not have missed a part of it, the plan is now pinned in keywords.
Someone had an excited whisper.
No, I'm missing a big step in this plan.
Is it food?
Yes. What am I supposed to eat? Is that during the raid? Is that between
On
the
the
raid
way
and
to the
makeover?
treasury?
You're gonna have plenty of time during makeovers.
Isn't that when I'm raiding together with Appricity?
That's true. You can always raid the kitchen on the way.
Can we please? You're welcome, Reedoo. There we go.
Ah, you're such good little players who help each other. Oh, lovely.
I like the Sunday party.
Hey, the Sunday party also helps each other become closer to the goddess of death.
Yes, this is very... The Sunday party help each other by helping themselves. And the Sunday party help each other by They work together so they can all get things individually. There you go. There's a thing.
They work together to leave each other sooner.
Yes.
Yeah.
The quicker this is done, the quicker I can leave.
Exactly. Which, makes for interesting DMing, but hey, it's fun. So, back to the beautiful Tuesday party, who are planning a musical together, who are going to do intro videos and pictures, and it's all going to be lovely. Hello, guys. One day the Tuesday party will go dark. It'll happen. It might not be now. It might be in the future. One day.
I would so love to see the evil Varic.
In the evil campaign, next time.
Fucking powerful.
I just imagine an evil Varic just robbing every kitchen that belongs to a peasant, so they starve.
Oh, perfect.
It's like taking candy from a baby, literally.
Yeah. Perfectamundo. Okay, so you guys are. I'm going to say that you have slept the night because the last thing you did was start Emily and him to pack, and you guys decided you were going to start some things early in the morning. Now, did you all want to sleep and we'll start from when you wake up, or did you want to do anything else as well?
Well, I think that it was the idea to get some hours in quickly, right? Just wake up in the middle of the night.
I think we'd worked out that if we went to bed nowish, we could get a long rest and wake up at 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
Wait, I get to trance, so I get to wake up even earlier.
Woo! Okay, so you've got the plan. So, are you all waking up at the same time to reconvene, or is anyone else waking up first, etc.? What would you like to do in that?
Well, if Eric wakes up first, he's definitely gonna be found eating.
What a surprise!
You know what? Let's do that. Varic wakes up early because he didn't know it was time for the plan.
We assume that he's fully healed, because from what I remember, he was.
Oh yes, I'm checking my notes now. I was back to 3 health.
Woohoo! In which case, yes, you can be back up, you can be spell recovered, etc., etc.
I got all my 44 hit points back. Sweet hit points.
Interestingly, 44 is the minimum amount of damage the assassin can do when he's really trying.
Well, I'm at 47.
It's okay.
Any consolation.
It's okay, you guys will level up at some point. I'm going to give you your XP at the end of this session, and it'll include
about 1 million XP.
Woo!
Yay!
So you'll be fine.
We are suddenly all level 25 up to 20.
Yes, very conveniently, you're all on this. You're all currently on about 2530, right?
I'll check. 375. 3,750.
Oh yes, sorry, wrong page. 3750 currently. That's cool. Alrighty then. So Varic, you wake up first. It's probably, how early do you want? 2 or 3 in the morning. You can still have a decent amount of sleep, so.
Well, with trance, I'd wake up after 4 hours, so.
Oh, it's okay.
Early.
So 3 a.m. then. So, Varic, you are waking up first. Okie dokie.
I start collecting food and making breakfast for the entire party.
Okay. Do you want to do it from your rations?
Keep in mind, I'm gathering this from parts that aren't my private collection of food.
Yeah, if you want, you can sneak back to the kitchen. There's no one around, so you found the kitchen before, didn't you? So you can sneak back down there if you like.
Yes, I'll do that. And just spend my time there cooking while nobody's there and sneak away with full breakfast for me.
Okay, so the rest of you Sorry, cooks breakfast. Okay, the rest of you are woken. Reedoo, you wake up first then. Reedoo, you wake up and your instinct tells you food. As you walk past Varic's door and see it open, he's not in there. You also notice the window is not open, so he hasn't climbed out anywhere. And your instinct tells you food. And as you walk to the end of the corridor, the door opens and Varic is stood there. He has put a massive pile of food and plates in the middle of the sitting room, so it's sort of on the coffee table. And you guys are awoken at about 3:30 in the morning by the wonderful smell of eggs and fruit and toast and thick butter and anything else you care to have in your breakfast. Some sort of beans, meats, various different things. And bacon, apparently.
And of course pie, because that's what Varic does.
Yes, breakfast pie, obviously. And you guys all come to in your various rooms, or if you decide to sleep together, wherever you are, you wake up. That's up to you entirely. And you have a brilliant smell of food, and it makes it a lot easier for you to wake up this early in the morning. You're slightly sleepy, but you're prepared for the plan to go ahead, and you can smell eggs and bacon and cooking things, and you just, it makes it a lot easier to roll out of bed at 3:30 a.m.
I'm gonna kind of snack on a little bit of food. I'm a little bit through the castle and potentially, getting in trouble before our plans even started.
I'm just gonna dig in.
Yeah, Tiefling's gonna jump in on that food too.
Okay, in my notes I've just written all nom nom. I think it's about right. Okay, so you guys dig in and start eating all your food. Varic, you have to restrain yourself from eating the whole lot. You ate a lot of it as you were walking up and carrying the plate. He was doing that thing where he was carrying this massive plate with loads of food on it, like a massive tray, and it had loads of plates of food and extra plates on it. And there's grilled tomatoes and sort of, you did that thing where you tried to pick something off with your fingers, but you couldn't carry the tray at the same time. So you did that thing where you sort of slowly nibbled on the corner of some egg, and you managed to eat 2 entire pieces of toast simply by lifting the tray to your face as you walked and going, ah.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, Vertharitas, as you pick up, as you pick up a piece of toast, you realise there's a bite mark in the corner of it, and Appricity, one of the fried eggs, has a big chomp mark. As you pull it out with your fork and knife and put it on your plate, you notice that you only pulled half, and you think, oh no, I broke it. Oh no, wait, this has got a bite mark in it. Varic.
Sorry! I tried!
You can tell he tried because it's only half the egg.
Is there anything in particular that people want us to look for when we go down to the treasury/armoury? Obviously, treasury, as many shiny things as possible.
Well,
I
made notes, Varic made notes of where the guards were. So we do have a slight idea of patrol routes and such.
That's cool. I didn't know if anybody was hoping for any particular kind of weapon if we go to the armoury.
Arrows.
I would like some more arrows too. Although I don't know how many more I can carry, actually.
Oh yeah, shit, that was a thing.
We've got more arrows at the moment.
Oh, my horse is carrying half of my arrows. I handed one player 50 arrows to a horse.
Oh yes, I remember. Yeah, I got 30 more arrows and I didn't put them on my... I could maybe get someone to carry them.
I can just attach a quiver to my shield.
Cool. Well, whilst So, Varic, is the plan that you and I go for a sneaky, and Arissa, are you going to get started on the makeovers now?
Makeover!
Yeah.
Probably best to wait until a more reasonable time.
Wasn't the idea to sneak them out under the disguise of a makeover?
Yeah.
Yeah, but during the day. It is not daytime yet.
No, but we were sneaking them out as early as possible, right?
Depends if they're awake.
I think we were going to leave, obviously. I don't know if we decided if they were going to come with us in disguise or whether we were going to shove them out in disguise.
Possibly, Reedoo. I thought it would be shove them out in disguise and then meet up with them once the party leaves. And then when
I don't
everyone...
with us.
I believe we were going to escort them at least out of the city,
Oh yeah, that was
but then we were going to split up. Because very, very cranky people are likely going to follow us.
And Arissa needs to go back into the city so that she can pretend to be an assassin.
Yeah, I thought we were going to all leave together during the day, quite obviously, but have them in disguise.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
And
was the thing.
Yeah.
In that case, you guys should pack up while we're away.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll finish my food. Go wake up Emily and him, and then make sure they're all packed up, and then start makeovers.
I pick up a plate of food and walk over to their door.
Ah, Varic does share food.
Well, only if it's stolen.
Varic shares stolen food. Okay, so Varic, you're going to walk down the corridor.
Varic doesn't share food. Asterisk. Only if it's unless it's stolen.
And even then,
shares stolen
only
goods.
occasionally. I mean, I did also buy stuff from that merchant near the stall with the tombola, with money that I stole from him.
I'm going to have I've had a bit of a nibble of breakfast, and then I'm going to stow away some toast and things into my little backpack, and I'm going to get ready to go sneaky.
I just shove some. Does she eat meat? If she eats meat, bacon. If she doesn't, some carrots or some shit into her mouth.
Yeah, does the gnome eat food like meat?
Doesn't eat food. No, she eats rocks.
No, she eats people.
I eat shadows.
I don't know gnomish culture.
Yeah.
Luckily, Arissa does.
In our home, we didn't eat meat that much, but here I will happily eat anything if it's going to help me achieve my goals for the day.
Okay, so I just kind of stuff some extra food in her and go, you won't last on just a few mouthfuls of toast, Arissa.
I'm going to choke down the kind of.
Arissa has entered mother mode.
I can imagine Appricity just saying in Gnomish, thanks. And Arissa replying in Gnomish, going, well, someone's got to look after you.
Ah.
I'm going to feel a little warm glow, but try and hide it.
Wait, did Appricity...
Go steal!
Conceal, don't feel, don't let it in. Or don't let them know.
Oh, yes.
Don't let them know. Whenever you know.
We'll put that in the musical as well. We can have an entire solo about Appricity opening up a little bit.
Oh my god, yes, please.
Yes. And then at the end she'll get Reese's letter and cry. Okay.
Don't make fun of that.
That was beautiful. You should have heard the sad songs I was listening to on YouTube while I wrote that. God.
Oh god. Oh.
Oh my god. Okay, Varic is writing poetry as he trots down the corridor with his plate of food, which he resists very well and does not chew on any of the food.
He might have nibbled on the plate.
You know what? In fact,
Rosie?
Varic, roll me a d20 with disadvantage.
I was about to suggest that thing about not eating the food.
Uh-huh.
I have this big purple scarf.
Yes.
Can I stuff it in my mouth as much as possible?
In which
Can
case,
that
forego
negate,
the
like,
rolling, and yes. It gets covered in drool very quickly because, man, it smells so good. You've got a plate all to yourself. You just ate 3 plates of this, but, man, those tomatoes are looking good. And, the way they're sitting on those eggs and there's toast. Why did 2... You pack, and you thought, because him might still be in the room, and you thought, I'll give them 2 bits of toast each. And you thought, they don't need 2 bits of toast each. They could just have 1 each. They could have half a piece of toast each. Then that leaves 2 for me. On your scarf. You also hear and you hear a small fluttering of wings, and Warman is following you and circles once around your head, sort of, and sort of flies back, and he's got a scarf stuffed in his mouth.
Crumbs of toast.
Like, down the corridors to check the coast is clear, like, out of the room.
Yeah, can do. Alright, the bird catches a little crumb and flies off back, so he's sending back down the corridor outside where you guys are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it? Yeah, about.
Okay, so Varic, you get up to the door. It is shut. Him is not outside standing guard like he used to be.
Ew, they're inside doing dirty things.
I politely knock on the door, put the plate down, and turn away.
Okay.
I'm not loudly going, room service, and then I put the plate down and turn away again.
Okay, can you please roll me a perception?
Perception.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's gonna hear dirty noises. Cover your ears!
So this thing happened where I rolled a net 20. And I am not sure if I want that in this
Alright. See, if we were in a live game, I would take you out of the room and tell you what you hear, but it's way more fun to have everyone else hear it as well. Okay,
You have to be inspired for the lawyer, yeah.
I know, but I think everyone else would enjoy it.
I wanna know.
I think our audience would enjoy it.
Yeah, fair.
Okay, well, because it's recording from my laptop, I think they would hear it anyway. Alright, so with your accidental nat 20, you, as you are about to knock on the door, you hear inside, you hear hushed voices. You recognise as him and Emily, and you hear him saying in a sort of husky voice, and he sort of says, I love you. And you hear Emily sort of, it sounds like she's been crying but stopped recently. That sort of, she's got that tremor in her voice, and she says, I know, I love you too. And then you hear a sort of bed squeak and some sort of, noises.
What do you do with your hands?
I uncomfortably shuffle away from.
Yeah, after hearing this, she's not a room service, and then sort of scuttle away. Just put the tray down. I'm walking away.
Arissa, on the other hand, is still waiting, just patiently, like she probably didn't hear anything. And if she did, she probably...
I shall poke Arissa going, you might want to give them a...
Arissa, you can roll perception as well if you want, and see if you heard anything.
Alright.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the DC you had to hit was not high. You didn't hear them say I love you, but you heard whispers, and then you heard the bed squeak and some sort of noises.
Arissa would still be the kind of person who wouldn't click what they're doing. You'd also be the kind of person that would knock, say room service, and then walk in.
Well, if you want, when Varic knocked and went, room service, and turned to you, Arissa will open the door for you and then be surprised that you put the plate down and start walking away, as if like, oh, honestly, you can tell he didn't grow up in a palace because he just doesn't know how you do things.
Can I pull her arm and like try to stop her?
Well, the door is open and the plate is down. So Arissa is about to step over the plate and like sort of turn around and pick it up. So do you want to pull her away?
Yeah.
Okay. Arissa, are you going to go with him?
Yeah, I think it'll be one of those things where I'm just really surprised that he's doing this and just, okay.
Yeah. Okay. As you turn away, you catch a glimpse out the corner of your eye as the door opens. The bed was on the far corner, the far side of the wall, on the opposite side to the door, but you do manage to catch a little bit, just a little bit of the sight of two, you don't see anything, but you see like, no, you don't see him, spare butt, sorry, it would be a beautiful sight. You see a very muscular, broad shoulder, the rest covered by the big bed blanket, and you see two slender female arms wrapped around his neck, and you see his like long dark hair, and you see, yeah, you would see like a bit of kissing, but there's blankets over everything, so you can't really make out much else, but you could probably, through the process of not being completely stupid, guess that they're probably naked and they might be doing something dirty.
I'm pretty sure my character should be doing that before marriage.
Let them have their fun, but in private, and I like throw further back.
Oh, they better be quick. We have a schedule.
You can always knock again in 10 minutes.
Make it fine.
I'm sure that he'll be finished in 5, so you can just...
Who says it's their first time?
Well, last
The
night
DM says it.
he claimed they hadn't actually had sex when he spoke to the assassin. Whether you believe him or not is entirely up to you, but that's what he claimed.
Did that click for Arissa? Is she now suddenly candles?
Just like, if she clicks it as their first time, she'd be like, what he's doing all wrong. You need this, and you need candles, and you need rose petals, and you need wood lighting. Oh my god!
She's saying all this as you pull her down the corridor. The door's still open and the plate's still on the floor, but as you're pulling her down the corridor, oh, but it could be their first time, and oh, blah, 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 blah.
Arissa, if it's their first time, they might need a bit of music.
Oh
my god.
let me have my flute.
Yeah.
And like from the other
Yes. Is there a portable piano nearby?
Roll me a perception.
Damn it.
Okay, you think you saw a piano at some point while you were walking around the castle, but you can't remember where it was, and it was definitely not portable.
Fine, I'll go get my flute then.
Okay. You mean you don't have your flute on you at all times? Strapped to your belt?
She has one of those, you know, where the dagger is strapped to the inside of the...
Yeah, it's strapped to my thigh. Yeah, I'll just say it's strapped to my thigh, I just go... And I'm like, haha! Flute time!
Okay.
So Arissa got so excited from seeing her play with him's flute that she decided to play her own flute.
I think that's exactly what happened, and that needs to go in the quotes for the evening immediately.
Bardic boner.
Exactly. So what sort of flute music are you going to be playing, and is it as you're walking down the corridor, or are you going to go and stand in their doorway and play for them?
It's going to be romantic music, obviously.
Okay.
I'm going to see if I can find some.
Google romantic.
If not, you should hum some.
Romantic flute solo.
Watch out, that could be a dangerous Google search.
And I'm just gonna mute my.
Okay, so while Arissa is deciding what she wants to be doing, and we'll cut back to them in a second because that's going to be beautiful. What are the rest of you doing, talking about, or just having a thought about in the little sitting room where the food is?
Well, I just noticed that Appricity won't be ready, so...
That's okay. So, Vertharitas. Hello? What would you like to be doing, thinking, or saying?
Well, he'll be finishing up his food, but he's also going to be studying that slightly sore arm of his.
Ah.
Well, it is still sore.
The flame!
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Actually, yeah.
The lady flame!
Did I wake up with a slight confused expression on my face and a torch in my hand?
Yes.
In which case, I'm probably still in my room. I've probably eaten and then dashed straight back to my room to where I left the torch.
Yes, what I'll say is you woke up and sort of propped at the foot of your bed. Like, you woke up and sort of, oh, food. And then you went, naked lady? And then, oh, not naked lady, naked lady. And then you realised that, yes, there's a torch which has a large, continuously burning flame, which made you jump a bit to begin with. You thought, oh shit, my room's on fire. But no. And it's in the shape of a lady. And I'm just going to see what this flute solo sounds like. Let's have a listen. Romance. The flute solo.
If I could play flute IRL.
Beautiful. And as this flute continues, are you going to walk to the door or just play it down the corridors to yourself?
I'll be closer to the room, but I won't be like right outside.
Okay. For about 30 seconds, nothing really changes. You still hear similar noises. And then all of a sudden you hear him, actually, being the soldier he noticed first, say, what? Is someone playing flute? And, what's this? And, you hear him call out, who's there? Hello?
I'm just gonna keep on playing.
It's very nice, but and Emily joins in. Hello. It's very beautiful. But we're a little occupied at the I'll just go and see. No, I'll go. And you hear some creaking on the bed.
Wait, what?
Alright, you're gonna
What happened?
Varic, what are you doing?
Wait, what's happened? I noticed him going to the...
Arissa was playing the flute, not right next to the door, sort of close to it. They noticed after about 30 seconds, shouted, "Who's there?" And she just carried on playing, and him has now got out of bed, and you heard him say, "I'm gonna go and check." So he's now, you can hear sort of the rustling of like maybe putting some clothes on, and he's gonna walk, and the door is open, so...
stealth away.
Okay, roll me for stealth, and Arissa, are you stealthing, or are you just running? Are you just pegging it?
I'm just fucking legging it out of there.
Alrighty.
Bye.
I rolled 26 in stealth.
Okay, Varic manages to disappear into the doorway of one of the bedrooms without you noticing where he's gone. Arissa, can you roll me a dexterity, please? No, athletics, please. Okie doke. Alright. You get the feeling that because of everything that's going on, and the impression he potentially doesn't want to give off, that him is putting on a few more clothes than perhaps the average person would when coming to investigate in this sort of scenario. And it takes him a little longer than it would normally. But you hear him come to the door, but by that time you have just managed to get to the sitting room door, and as you shut it behind you, you see through the tiny little crack as his face and one hand appear behind the door, and he looks out into the corridor. But he doesn't notice you because he notices the tray of food that's still on the ground outside, and sort of you see him, huh? And look up and sort of confused as you shut the door. And if you can hear panting, it's because my dog's decided to chase his tail, but he's too lazy to get up, so he's doing it while sitting down.
I thought it was Varic making running away noises.
It's not going to work, Bobby. It's not going to work. You're not going to catch it. I'm sorry. Come here. Yes, Varic has managed to disappear, so Arissa appears back in the room, panting and holding her flute. In fact, the rest of you had heard the flute music while you were sat there, and were a little bit confused. So you heard them walking down the corridor, you heard the knock on the door, you heard Varic say something, you assume something like room service, and then you heard a sudden flute, and then some running footsteps, and Arissa reappears. And Vertharitas, are you back in your room at this point, or have you sort of brought the flame with you?
Wait. If Vertharitas was moving towards his room at the time that him was going to the door...
Oh no, I'm saying he said he'd eaten his breakfast quite quickly. He'll have gone back before you guys. However, his door may have been open, so it might be the room that you darted into. That makes it more fun. So yeah. Why the hell not? Varic, you've now darted into the Vertharitas' room and you found the tiefling half-dressed and sort of standing, looking confusedly at a torch that, when you first step into the room, it just looks like a torch with, flame coming out of it. And for a second you wonder why he's lit it, because you're going to be stealthy and won't that alert people if they can see the light? And then you realise that this flame on the torch is in the shape of a lady. And it's sort of dancing around as the fire sort of flicks and burns.
I go, oh, not you and someone as well. He's naked. And I turn around and just stalk out of there. I thought you were a paladin. Are you not, lady? Isn't this improper for you?
I appear in Vertharitas' room and start playing.
Bardic teleport!
Yes!
Yeah, there you go. Arissa now appears, readying her flute. Romance coming up! And then you notice, where's the lady? Oh, she's fiery. They're not making out. Varic.
Varic, you got my picks up!
I just assumed, Verti, like he is, and, a lady on fire being naked.
I'm going to somewhat ignore the elf right now and sort of crouch down near the torch.
So he's even bending the knee for his leg.
Just out of curiosity, how much do I remember of our funky ass dreams? Or not at all?
Roll me a charisma save. Treat it like you're coming out of the Fey world.
Radio.
Should I roll as
Yeah,
well?
Arissa, you can do that as well, actually. Everyone who was there can do that, actually.
Oh, that was the birthday thing, right?
Yes.
Ooh.
Sorry, something save?
Charisma save to anyone who came to the birthday one-shot. That was me. That was mine. Ah!
Radio.
Alrighty. Okay, Arissa and Appricity, you remember having some really cool dream with loads of colours and bouncing and this weird dragony lady who you don't really recognise except Arissa. You vaguely think you've seen her somewhere before. And actually, the thing that freaks you out the most is that... Oh, when did this dream happen? Oh, okay. The thing that freaks you out the most is that you suddenly realise that you had a dream in which the assassin appeared before you'd even met him. Or it might have been just after you met him. Well, either way, it was either just before or you realised I had a dream with the assassin in it. But I believe it was... When was your last session? 2 weeks ago? And then the birthday one was... No, I think the birthday one was the last one, so it will have been after. So you had the dream of the assassin after you met him.
Yep.
So that would have been tonight. You'll have had that dream tonight when you and Arissa, you do remember Arnold. That is probably the one thing that you do really remember.
Yes, my connection's being weird.
Yes, you remember Arnold.
Yay!
Appricity, you remember seeing the assassin and some weird ass people and some weird shit happening, but you just thought it was a weird sort of stress related dream. Vertharitas and Varic, you remember pretty much the whole contents of the dream, actually. Like, it was a fairly vivid dream, a fairly strange place. You remember bouncing around. You remember this really angry dragonborn person and the assassin appearing in your dream for God knows what reason. You remember them getting chained together by this chain that kept singing at them and trying to make them be friends. And you remember going to the palace of this like bubblegum fairy creature thing. And yes, you remember getting the Arnold toy for Arissa. Yes. And you remember the flame lady helping to lead you there and things. And yeah, you remember enough of that.
Oh, in that case, I wouldn't be like all going sexy time about the two of them.
Well, you might be.
Okay, possibly because I'm very. But like not as convinced of it. More like as a joke to, set up people who don't possibly have.
The joke will still call Arissa though.
Yeah, probably.
I'm going to kneel down next to the fairy and go. Okay. I'm actually quite glad you were able to come with us back from wherever the heck we were. We're actually planning to start traveling soon if you want to accompany us.
Okay. From what you remember of the dream, you remember speaking to this person with ease, and you remember her voice briefly. However, when you talk to her now, her mouth moves, but all you hear is sort of like licking flames when she's talking back to you.
I'm just going to be very, very confused with that.
He's not a smart one, is he?
Do you not speak fire?
No.
I speak all sorts of infernal, but no, I don't speak fire.
Yeah, fire, literally, they have their own language, it's amazing. It's like, right, you take that tree over there, I'll take this one. Ready? You take the grass. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Fire! So she does seem to understand what you're saying. You can see lots of sort of, she's nodding her head and speaking, but you can't comprehend what she's saying anymore, which is quite sad.
Oh.
It's a love story for the ages.
Well, I'll basically go, do you mind if I bring you out into the main room? At the very least, there's a fireplace there if you're more comfortable there temporarily.
She sort of pauses and thinks. You sort of see her head tilt as she sort of has a think, and then she's saying things, but then she pauses, like her mouth moves, and then she pauses as if waiting for you to respond, and then you see recognition in the face. You can't understand me anymore, and she just sort of very simply nods her head.
Okay, I'll take the nod and just scoot into the shop and go out to the main room.
I have a thing for that. Where's the magic drafts list? Can I hand Verti the green draft, seeing the difficulty of communicating between the flame fairy and...
The green bottle?
Yes, because that had something, according to the pinned message, it had something to do with communication and animals.
Yeah, I think it was like nature and animals. Green potion and communication, it says. I don't think she
And animals. Don't think that would help all that much.
Well, it would be the idea. Varic could have remembered it as communication. You people are not being able to communicate very well, so here you go.
I'll take it, look at it, and shrug. Thanks, Varic. I don't know if this will work.
You're welcome. You could always try a little sip and see if it does anything. I mean, if you suddenly start talking fire.
Also, we may need it for emergencies.
More fire!
It can always be more fire! So are you guys you're going to bring the torch into the main room then?
Yeah, into the main room and we'll basically put it near the fireplace so that she's got somewhere to be, and then I'm going to sit out there for the meantime.
Okay. As you guys walk out, you see that the big tray of food has gone from the door of Emily's room. The door itself is slightly open, and you can see sort of through the crack that they are both sort of sat on the bed having breakfast together and sort of smiling and chatting and still looking a bit tense and worried from what you can tell, but there's some smiles going on there. It's quite nice. As you keep heading off down the corridor and you go back through the door into the sitting room.
Yay! The food was successful.
Varic's priorities measured. Okay, so you get back into the sitting room, and Appricity and Reedoo and everyone are in there. Well, I say everyone, that's it, those two. So you guys are all back together in the sitting room. So Vertharitas walks in with Arissa and Varic, and he's holding a big torch with a naked lady flame in it. Which you, Appricity, will vaguely recognise and sort of go, I'm sure I've seen this before somewhere. Maybe? Possibly?
Bertie, where did you get that thing from? Was that real?
Apparently so. I seem to recall the strangest dream, and I woke up with her in the room this morning.
Wait, so she's a solid thing?
I believe a fairy, yeah. Can't exactly communicate very well right now. But that might be something to do with, I don't exactly speak Fae, and I presume something was helping us.
Would anybody in the room have met a fire Fae like this before?
Anybody?
No, but I do have comprehend languages. So that.
No.
Well, you can use it
if anyone is capable of trying to communicate in her own language, that would probably set her at ease a bit. Otherwise, it's just nods and shaking the head until we find a solution.
What Reedoo's done, I think.
Oh, let's see. Reedoo may have some magic idea.
Either that or a really snarky comment.
I don't know if we know what language she's talking. Some sort of fairy.
Fire! The fairy fire is very dangerous. You know what? I'm actually checking because there's a spell called Fairy Fog. Might be really.
Yes, there is. Don't do it right now.
Yeah, don't do that somewhere where you don't want to destroy everything.
I don't have access to that spell. I can only pour acid on people's faces with my arrows, or punch them with bear traps.
You're not sorry.
No, you enjoyed that. It was all good. So, as far as you can think, none of you have met a creature like this before. Some of you seem to remember dreaming about it, and now it seems like that dream was somehow real. Nobody particularly speaks any Fey languages.
Does Sylvan count?
Sylvan you could try, if you wanted.
I'll try to talk to it in Sylvan and say, hey, I thought that you only appeared in the dream, and now you're here. In Sylvan.
Okay. The fire creature understands you, as in she looks at you and she's sort of nodding to what you're saying, and then she starts to reply, but it still just comes out in licks of fire and sort of...
So that's no common, obviously no Sylvan. Nope, I'm out.
I'm out.
Unless she speaks Elfish, but probably not.
I will cast Comprehend Languages.
Yeah.
Hey, what language do you speak? Can you teach me?
I wrote it down, I think. No, I didn't. Great. Wait, maybe I did.
Should I look it up?
I've got the book in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm doing just that.
I've got it. She understands the literal meaning of any spoken language you hear. You can also read any written language, but you must be touching the surface they're written on. Lasts 1 hour. Do I need to cast for that? Probably. I don't know.
Have a look, see. I mean, you're not in combat, so I won't make you take an entire action or whatever, so...
It's VS and M, but only a pinch of salt and salt.
It's technically a ritual, so I think I can just do it.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to make it take forever, because again, you're not during combat, so you take a few minutes, and you can just sit there and concentrate, and you're doing it to yourself, yes?
Yes. I assume that was you saying you do it to yourself, in which case, yes. I don't know what I'm doing, but yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, almost without saying anything to anyone, without mentioning this plan, Arissa suddenly sits down on the floor in front of the flamey torch thing, and with her hair sort of floating around her and bobbing, she sits and does almost like a sort of what monks would do with their legs crossed, and sort of just hum, and does a like little ritual. And you sit there for a good couple of minutes and concentrate and think about words and their meaning, and you open your eyes and you feel, okay, you hear a coming from the gnome in the corner. And it sounds, you can hear the fart, and you can almost hear something whispering, smelly.
Amazing.
So, Vertharitas, while you're putting your gear on, have you handed the torch to Arissa?
I put the torch near the fireplace so that she could jump onto the...
Yep, the flame has jumped, and quite literally jumped. There is not even an ember left on the torch, and it's now lit in the fireplace. And the lady in it, because it's quite a large, ornate fireplace, the lady in it has now grown, and she's about 4 feet tall within the fireplace now, sort of dancing around.
Is she completely naked?
She is completely naked, but there isn't, like, you can't see, like, you know, there's no 80s bush or anything. It's sort of like it's tasteful nude. It's like in the Hunchback of Notre Dame when he's looking in the fire and he can see Esmeralda only without the clothes on. Like there's some very clear boobs, but not flaming nipples or anything. It's sort of more.
Fire. Hellfire.
That's what Arissa's humming
nice.
when she was doing the rituals. Like. So it's like a silhouette, but the face is it's beautiful, and it's very fey, sort of long and angular with sort of angular jawline and long ears that are pointed and things, and long flowing hair that goes down almost half her body. So the face is very detailed. You can see her, what she looks like, but the rest of it's sort of like a silhouette. Yes, Disney meets metal. Yes, I've seen this. It's amazing. Arissa, you... As far as you know, it's worked. So, you're sat, you've got the fire in front of you. It's the best version, I'm sorry. Everything he does is better than the original,
Everything you can do, I can do better. I do it better than you.
So, Arissa, are you going to attempt to talk to the fire? I feel very Harry Potter right now.
Just... Hello? Are we... speaking the same language?
Oh, thank goodness, someone who can understand me, says the fire.
Well, it's... I check my imaginary watch on my wrist and go, it only lasts for an hour.
Oh, I see, I understand now. So you've cast some sort of spell. Well, either way, that's good. I don't mind being a torch, but it is nicer to stretch out. And the fire sort of goes in the fireplace. Oh, also the rest of you, you can hear Arissa coming out of her mouth. It's almost like hearing someone breathe fire without the fire. And you can hear sort of Arissa sort of going... and occasionally, sparks will fly off the end of her tongue.
Mm-hmm. Does that remind Varic of a certain demon? Any way, shape, or form?
Maybe a tiny little bit, enough to sort of slightly unsettle you, but you know it's not, but it does unsettle you a little bit.
I'll slightly crawl away. Closer to Appricity to start talking about the plan and distracting myself.
I'm not sure if the spell actually means I speak the language, or if you can just understand the meaning of what anyone else is saying, essentially.
But having you spit fire is way more fun.
Hey, you're the DM.
That's how it's going to work today.
Great.
Sorry, you were speaking to the fire.
Yes, I can understand it must be a bit cramped in there.
Oh, yes, just a little bit. I don't mind, of course, because, just to be alive is fantastic. Thank you for not dunking me in the nearest lake. It was very kind of you.
Not a problem. So how did you come to be here? You weren't with us yesterday, and I vaguely remember we were in a dream.
Oh, I remember you, Arissa. You were there too. You came to, how to explain? I suppose you just got lucky. Occasionally, randomly, people fall into the world I came from in their dreams. So you're right, it was a dream, but people fall into it, I suppose, sometimes. Again, you have to get lucky. And you're very lucky you came with so many of your friends. Usually it is random people from all across the world who just happen to meet up and go through a series of strange encounters and adventures within our world, and most do not remember anything. I'm surprised that you do.
Yes, well, I am his friend there. How could I forget? But that reminds me, you know my name. I don't know yours.
Oh, are you ready? Because I'm going to write this shit down for you. And if I gave her a name last time, I apologise because I renamed her. I don't remember. I don't believe I did because I didn't write it in my notes. So, thank you. I was about to do that link.
Yeah, same.
There we go. See, we're all on it like a car bonnet. It's amazing. That's the chavviest thing I've ever said.
I pasted into a sticky note, like a digital sticky note on my desktop. Together with Facebook and Twitter.
Okay. She says, "Oh, of course, Arissa, and I do remember your friend Arnold as well. I am sorry he could not come with us, but the journey would destroy things from our world that are of flesh and bone. I do not count. I am of neither, of course." And as she laughs, like a flicker of the flame sort of sputters out and sort of flicks some little specks of fire, and it sort of goes up the chimney. My name is Navinye, which I am spelling for you. So everyone remember this. This is the name of Vertharitas' future wife.
Okay, so I'm going to kind of look up at everyone and go, her name's Navinye, and do you have any questions?
I am your translator for today.
Hello, my name is Arissa, and I will be your translator for today. Do you have any questions, queries, concerns? I am not translating that, Varic.
I am not saying it out loud enough for, I'm whispering it.
Is she okay with the fact that she's no longer in the Feywild? Like, is she happy that she's here?
I relate this question to Navinye.
Oh, well, I like to explore, and I think I had seen most of the things I could back in my world. It was not the Feywild, by the way. It was the Dreamscape.
Oh, sorry.
We'll just assume that I translate questions and answers.
Yeah, that's okay.
Because I'm not repeating everything I say.
That's okay. If you ever want to edit what someone's saying, then just jump in before I reply. That's fine. So yeah, she's from. I'll spell it. Well, it's spelt how it's said. Essentially, she's from the Dreamscape realm.
Because I've been watching too much Critical Role. Sorry, then I was going to the Feywild.
That's okay. And I have been watching a lot as well because I'm planning your Feywild campaign as well. So. Because, you know, when you've written 100 pages on this current campaign, you need to branch out and plan the next one as well, because, you know, why not? But yeah, so she says she's from the Dreamscape plane. She reiterates what she said earlier, and she says, "It is similar to the Feywild, I believe. I have never yet been, sadly, but our plane is only really reached through sleep, and you can only leave from our plane with permission of the Fairy Queen, which you guys got, which was fantastic of you. Some come and try to destroy the entire world. They try to turn it into some sort of nightmare, but it doesn't usually work." And she laughs and sort of sparks fly out again.
Hashtag Sunday party.
Ooh, Candy Floss Castle! Let's set it on fire.
Well, you did mention that you like travelling. Would you like to continue travelling with us?
Okay, Arissa relays it, and she thinks for a moment, sort of twirling in the fireplace, and she says, "You are possibly the most trustworthy travellers I have met in Dreamscape, so I would be honoured if you would take me with you. Of course, and whatever help I could be, I know nothing of this world. Where are we, actually?"
I'm going to look at Arissa and go, "Do you want to give a brief history of where we are?"
Story time!
So, what are you going to
So
do?
knowing Arissa, she try and go back to the very beginning of the beginning of the world.
So,
No, Arissa, no.
Arissa manages to give a brief overview. She begins with how the world began, or how she believes the world began. Gets a bit caught up. Manages to jump ahead several years. Talks about the war in Trevis. Talks about a lot of various different things. To which Navinia nods and nods, and then says towards the end, yes, but where are we? What is this world, this country, even? Where am I?
Well, we are in the country of Barzin, and we're in the city of Crownside, and we're in the Marksis house. Is that what you wanted?
Oh, well, it's always nice to be able to know where you are. So, this is Mercer, yes?
Yes.
Oh, I have heard a few stories of this place. It doesn't seem too bad. Then yes, I would happily come with you. And you've probably got about another half an hour's worth of chat now, so anything else anyone wanted to say and add, etc.?
If she is coming with us, I don't know what word I'm looking for. If things get a little tricky down the line, is she able to protect herself? Maybe lend some protection to us?
Okay. She says, well, that depends upon the situation, of course. I have only really one particular set of skills. Fire! And she lifts her hands up and makes some more big, like almost like fireworks sort of shoot out of her hands. They don't damage anything in the room, they just sort of shoot out and then disappear, sort of. I can burn things. I can stop other fire burning things as long as it's not more powerful than I. I could potentially protect you, I suppose. Be some sort of fire shield. I protected a group of little hobgoblins once. They were trying to steal some food from someone else. It was all in fun, and I remember they asked me and a few of my friends to make a ring of fire around them to protect them as they moved, and we moved along with them, and that worked quite well. There is only one of me, but I think I could potentially do that. Maybe just protect you from the front, or the back, or the sides. Oh, there are a few options there. But I'm only one, so I could possibly just do one area at a time. But of course, if the situation came, I'd be happy to try.
Yeah.
What did you say, sorry? Can she grill things though? Oh god.
Varic, I'm not asking her that.
Why not?
It's impertinent. It's rude.
It's important.
Especially marshmallows.
Appricity, not you two.
Is he asking
Oh,
about
that
food?
sounds like a... Yes. Oh, wait, no. I don't understand her, so... Varic is not going yes.
She says to Arissa, I can imagine your friend. Was it Varic? He seemed very food-focused. I can comprehend a little of what you are saying to me. It is harder not being in my own world, but I can understand a little. I would be more than happy to do some barbecuing if that is a use you could put me to, as long as I can still see and travel as we do so. I would rather not be a portable barbecue packed away every day, if that is all right.
I thought it was too rude to even suggest, but of course we wouldn't make you just a walking campfire. That's just rude.
That is perfectly all right. I mean, I'm happy to be a campfire, keeping you warm, it can be a use, of course. I would love to be as useful as possible. After all, you are taking me with you, and I appreciate I am not the easiest travelling companion. I have to be kept alight, I have to be held, and, I mean, unless we're in a very grassy area, I suppose, in which case I could be put on the floor and follow along, but I would feel rather guilty creating a big trail of destruction behind me as I went.
That could be unfortunate. Especially because we're about to go on a stealth mission.
Oh.
You have a helmet if you can find one.
Ooh.
Also, we need to try and figure out a more permanent solution to this language barrier.
Oh, yes. I mean, I can, as I say, comprehend a little of what you are saying to me. Of course, nodding, shaking, and gestures is all I have to offer in return, but it is a start, I suppose.
Very true. I'm sure we'll figure something else out, and, for those fails, I do have my spells.
We can draw pictures as well. She could make us some charcoal and we could draw some pictures for her. I'm gonna make a note to find a helmet for Verti when we go to the Armoury.
Yeah, and something shiny for Arissa. And
Yeah.
maybe if we find books for Reedoo.
In the Armoury, we may...
No, the treasury.
Yeah, true. Maybe some shiny books.
Oh, but actually, there's another idea.
Shiny, I think. She's the one that fucking took the gold and hid it from us right on day number 1. She likes the shiny. Don't say, "Oi, you did it."
I think you're currently the only person that knows.
I rolled perception and I saw you do that. I just chose not to talk to you about it.
Oh, that's true.
Oh shit, that's coming back to haunt you. Yeah.
I haven't told them, it's okay. I just know.
As far as you know, Reedoo is very highly trustworthy.
No.
Well, okay, Varic might be slightly convinced-ish, maybe.
Okay, so this spell is going to start wearing off soon, so did you have any last questions before it finishes entirely?
Can we ask her if it's okay to, hide her away? If we found, a helmet or something to conceal her in, would she be happy? If we need to go stealthy, having a fire is probably not the most useful thing.
Actually, I just had a thought. See if you can find a lantern, like a storm lantern, while you're at it.
Oh, I've got one. I've got a hooded lantern.
Yeah, that would be useful.
Oh, she could live there. Hang on, let me just double check. I'm sure it's part of my... where's my equipment page? Oh god, I need to put... Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'll still take the helmet, because I'd like to affix a small brazier to the top of it so she can sit there and get a view.
Oh, that's nice.
And it saves people having to carry stuff, like torches.
Okay.
It's now in my DM notes that Vertharitas is at some point going to fall in love with this person if I can do my best to help it.
Yeah, I have a hooded lamp as part of my burglar's pack.
Okay.
Ooh.
Well, when Arissa was translating while you were having this discussion, she says, well, I can shrink down to fit on the head of a match, and I can fit in just about anything. I can keep myself alight without timber for a good 5 or so hours, but if it is somewhere with no tinder or no air, then I will go out.
That's good to know. I've got the hooded lantern, I've got some oil, and I've got a tinder box. So I reckon between us, if we just take care of her, we'll be able to keep her going.
I think we're good. And I've got plenty of torches as well as backup.
I ask her if she's okay with the lantern.
Oh, yes, that seems nice. Oh, and you're giving me a view. How sweet. Tell him I said thank you very much, won't you?
I think if you do.
Reedoo says, so what's wrong with her going out?
I think she did.
Yeah.
Okay, any last questions? Because the spell's going to go after the next one.
I think I'm good.
All good?
Oh, does she eat anything? Or does she just burn?
I think she just needs kindling oil.
Basically just fire.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that was...
She says, I do
I
not...
won't translate that
Are you're not gonna are you gonna translate or not?
bit. No.
No. Okay.
Don't call it justifier.
I didn't mean that.
Okay, so as you guys just talk a little bit about, oh yes, the lantern looks very nice. It fades and she's talking flame again.
I kind of look at her and go, the spell's worn off.
And she pauses in what she's saying for a second, and then she does sort of, oh, one of those faces, this sort of big eyes in her mouth, and she sort of waves and nods her head.
Okay. So, back to the plan.
Cool. Stage 3, raid.
Yep. I believe you guys have somewhere to be.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a bit of a racket here so that Arissa can do her part without hopefully nosy servants and stuff sticking their head in here.
Okay, so current plan is who is going to the treasury and the armoury?
Appricity and me.
Yes, please.
Appricity and
I think I need to make with a redo so that she can look like the, what was it, stinky human girl?
Yep.
Yeah, but did she mean Arissa?
I think Reedoo can do disguise self.
Yes, she was going to do it herself, but we needed to disguise him and Emily. Emily to look like Reedoo.
Yeah.
In which case I will need Emily with me so that I can make sure I get all good in the hood. I
Okay.
just stand next to her and be like, I think I need another freckle here.
Okay, and the Vertharitas, what are you going to be doing?
I'm going to pull out my guitar, which has been sitting in my lap, and just start playing. Since I'm not good at sneaking, and I'm probably useless when it comes to disguising.
So you're going to play it.
You
like the
can
mood.
hold my brushes.
Sorry?
You can hold my brushes.
Yes.
I was thinking of intimidating the hell of anyone while you were busy.
You can do that with brushes in your hair.
Quite possibly.
You can tuck them
I'm
behind his
certain I
horns
could,
and his ears.
That's exactly what I plan on doing.
Yes.
In the meantime, I'll play my guitar.
While having my own brushes stuck in my hair.
Excellent.
Brushes everywhere.
Tongue sticking out in concentration. Okay. So, I will say before we jump to the armoury and everything, so, number one, I'm going to say that the Vertharitas, as you start playing, you notice Navinye is dancing to the tune of your playing, and she is dancing about in the fireplace sweetly. Very beautiful, very delicate, very quaint, and very nice. You can't help every so often, you know, even though you're a very lawful good paladin, every now and then you sort of look up and notice, ooh, she pretty fire lady, she pretty.
Advantages of being chaotic, not awful.
In my skin. It is fine.
Please tell me the bard is literally singing that.
Oh yeah, something very, very similar. So
it's not my fault. I'm not to blame.
it was the DM. So Arissa, are you going to go and get the loved up couple from bed?
I'm going to politely knock.
Okay. Arissa goes on the corridor and knocks on the door. And it opens a couple of seconds later, and you are greeted by him, who is fully dressed except for his armour, which you're delighted about. And he is looking sceptical when he opens the door, and then realising it's you. Oh, it's you. Are you ready to dress our faces up?
Make good time! Have you broken your fast? I assume you have, because the breakfast that we left is gone. So...
Yes. Suddenly things start to make more sense. You left us the breakfast. Thank you very much. I see. And you gave us the flute serenade, I imagine.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
Emily pokes her head out the door, and she looks quite different actually. She's tied her hair back, and she's wearing some very simple clothes. She's not wearing a fancy dress anymore. She's wearing like a tunic and some travelling trousers and some travelling boots, and she doesn't look as royal. She still looks beautiful in the face, and her hair is still beautiful, but she looks very plain in comparison to what she's been wearing before. And she pokes her head out and she's laughing. And she goes, I'll take that as a yes then. Thank you, it was most sweet of you. I enjoyed the tune. There were neither too many sharps nor flats. It was just right.
Somebody who knows music! Oh, you have no idea how long it's been.
Well, no offence to your travelling companions, but I suppose music is far from their thoughts most of the time.
Well, Vertharitas does play. He is playing at the moment. He's got a guitar.
How lovely.
Having someone classically trained is nice.
Well, it is part of my, for want of a better word, the procedure of my youth. You must learn to play the piano, you must read the music, you must wear the dresses and be pretty, and him interrupts her here, and marry the bastards from another country that you know nothing about. Well, that's sort of what we're sorting out right now, isn't it, sweetheart? And him sort of nods.
I completely understand, apart from that last bit, that didn't turn out so well for me. But that's by the by. But yes, if you come with me, we can get you all prettified or unprettified. No, let's say prettified. So they're not being to Reedoo.
As you lead them down the corridor, Emily turns to him and laughs at that comment you just made and says, "Hear that, darling? We're going to make you pretty." And he sort of laughs and says, "It's been 20 years since I would have considered myself pretty, but of course, do your worst."
So cruel to yourself.
It's not cruelty. Don't worry. It's I'm no longer in the prime of my life. It's a burden I hope you never face. I'm sure you won't. You're far too jovial to ever truly hit middle age, I believe. And Reedoo is humping. So the door opens and the ever sunny Arissa bounces into the room, followed by a very plain looking Emily and him, Dukeson. And I'm going to say you're all still in there for now, but when Arissa brings them into the room, you two are going to speed on off to the treasury in the armoury.
Yeah, I'm going to bid them good morning and then go for the door.
Alrighty.
I'll follow behind.
Okay. They also bid you.
I'll quickly look away.
Okay, so they are going to bid you good morning, and then you'll disappear down the corridors. So we will start with Varic and Appricity for now. So, you guys trundle on down. Now, you already looked up where the treasure in the armoury were, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And
I had drawn a map of where they were and where guards walked and such, that I gave to Appricity because Varic has it in the noggin.
okay.
So as we leave the door of the sitting room, I'd like to send Warmin ahead to the corridor that's got... What, are the treasury and the armory in the same place, or like how far apart are they?
Yes, they're in the same part of the castle. They're on one of the lower floors. The treasury is out the back of the armoury, from what you could tell. So the armoury, you go through it, and then you reach the treasury.
So as long as Warmin is within 100 feet of me, I can see through her eyes as well as mine.
Awesome sauce. Okay. So...
How does that work? Wouldn't that be really, really disorienting?
Maybe?
Then again, you've learned to master it, probably.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so, did you make notes on the exact number of guards last time, or did you just note them down and have them in character?
Yeah, the second. I told you, like, well, I make note of where the guards are walking and such.
That's okay. That's fine. I've got them here, so that's fine. Okay, so from your notes, what you remember, there's a long corridor, which on one end of it leads to the main hallway, which has the spiral staircase up, which then leads to your hall where the front doors are and things. And down the other end was another passageway which had stairs going up, which led you to the kitchen. So that was partly how you found it, because it was near the kitchen. It's the only thing on the lowest floor. It's not like a dungeon, it's just below ground level, as it were. And you know that there are 3 guards directly outside it, 1 directly outside the door and 2 at either end of the corridor when you get down there, and they're fully armoured up, and sort of the 2 on the ends, they pace around the corners and back again, which is making sense to me because I can see it on the thing. And then there's 1 who sort of paces back and forth, sort of in front of the door. So you've got 2 who go round the corners and come back, and 1 sort of pacing in front of it. Yay! Hello, Apollo!
Hello, Apollo!
Hello.
I'm unmuting myself to say hello!
It's a shame you couldn't listen to the spa day last time. It was hilarity on a stick. I'm sure this is going to be quite entertaining as well.
We'll make that a one shot. Yeah!
Awesome. Okay.
We passed 150 total views.
Woohoo!
Amazing.
Awesome. Okay, so
Hi, Apollo.
what is you guys' plan? You've got. I'm going to show you a picture soon.
There's a couple of guards walking up and down the corridor, on one stationed outside, not moving. Is that right?
Yes.
I could do a minor illusion and make some noise to distract them.
That would work.
So I can help my range on that. 5 foot cube. Oh, 30 feet. So are they down? So it's kind of like a dead end corridor. So if they ran out of the corridor, they would run past us, or is there anywhere that we can hide?
Well, the corridor they're in is it's on its own. So hang on, I'm going to send you a map. It's just loading slowly. But yeah, basically the armoury and the treasury themselves are on the lowest floor with the 3 guards pacing back and forth. The corridor itself is like a C shape, but on a calculator. So it's like 3 lines. So if they all ran in the same direction, the corridor itself would be empty. But there's 2 dead ends at either side. So once they'd gone, they'd come back round again. But they'd have to come back on themselves, if that makes sense.
Do any of the guards look more important than the others, or do they all look they're all in the same uniform and there's no differentiation?
They all look fairly similar in their armour. They've all got the Marksis family crest on them, and the one that stood just by the door is holding a sword, and the other 2 are holding spears.
Oh, I can't spell. Also, Reedoo, I don't want to alert them too much and then wake up the whole castle.
We could.
Go on.
Did we decide on a no-killing policy? Because 3 arrows would not be that difficult.
Can I ask a question to the DM out of character? Because I've not used this spell before. If I were to use Charm Person on a person, and it failed, would they have been able to feel the charm? If I stayed hidden and tried to use it, would they be able to feel that some magic had been cast on them?
Interesting. I shall have a look-see, because I'm not sure. I think it might... I know that once you've charmed someone, they can tell that they've been charmed. Yeah. But...
I don't know if they could feel it if it went wrong.
I think if it goes wrong, potentially not. Charm person, blah, blah, blah. Wisdom saving throw. For new acquaintance. No, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say they only notice if it gets successfully cast and then disappears. So if you attempted it and it didn't work, I'm going to say no. They don't notice. It just doesn't work.
Cool. Do I have one of the guards within 30 feet of me whilst I'm still kind of hidden at the bottom curve of the stairs?
Well, you will do. I'm going to ask you to decide which stairs you've come down. So you're going to come down via the kitchens or via the main entrance. They're both pretty much equally similar distance away from where your rooms were.
Knowing Varic, I think that Varic would want to go past the kitchen, but also be scared that he'd be too distracted from the mission.
Yeah, I think, me knowing Varic, I would encourage us to go down the stairs near the main entrance and not the kitchen.
Okay. I'm gonna say, what a sensible idea. Okay.
Like, if we can leave through the kitchen as a special treat afterwards.
If I did good.
Yeah, if you're a good boy, I'll get you some ice cream.
Score.
Okay, so you guys are going to be on the top side of the map, so the left-hand side of the map I've given you. It's a bit blurry, I'm sorry, it's my phone. You guys are on the stairs coming down from the main entrance then. The guard with the spear who you expected, patrols and comes around this corner and back again every so often. You waited on the stairs because the stairs aren't open, they're like a spiral stair, so you can sort of wait on them as you hear his footsteps sort of clank, 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 and he stops and you hear him sort of look about and have a listen and then turn around and clank, 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 go back again. So you can sort of time it, but there is a guy, he'll be close to you, but if he's that close to you, he will be able to see you because he'll walk around the corner. You can wait, obviously, till he turns his back, etc., etc.
Yeah, I'd like to try and cast it on him when he can't see me at all, just in case it goes wrong.
Alrighty, not a problem. Okay, so charm person, which I just put away. Goodness sake. So a wisdom saving throw. Alrighty, and it's a. Oh, let's go. There we go. It's first level, isn't it, sir? Okay, I'll do his wisdom saving throw. Right, and what is your spell DC that he's trying to beat?
12.
Not even half. And plus his 12. No, he's just made 8 on that. So, okay, so you wait for the guard. Are you waiting him to be facing you or to be turning away?
I was waiting for him to be turning away just in case it went wrong. Because if you...
Good plan.
Maybe
so ready to walk backwards again, but okay. So the guard now regards you as a friendly acquaintance. It lasts for 1 hour. Doesn't require concentration. So, okay. The guard sort of pauses and sort of goes, I like that no. Steps as if to carry on talking. Walking back in the way he was going.
Cool, I'm going to step out from the stairs knowing that my spell's gone right and call out, "You there, good fellow!"
Alright, the guard,
Can I stay hidden?
yes, you can. In fact, roll me stealth, please, Varic, then.
How dark and musty is it in that?
Not very. There's quite a few torches. It's quite well lit.
Okay, so Mask of the World will work then. So it's just a straight 20 plus. It's 20 total.
Okay. Yeah, you can. You're still sort of stealthily slinking around the bottom of the stairs, not quite letting yourself be seen. Okay. The guard turns around when he hears you, and he turns around and sees you, Appricity, and says, "Oh, hello. How are you?"
Oh, very good. What a fine morning to you. How goes the night?
Oh, you know, I wouldn't say a fine morning. It's more of a long night. You see, I don't like to say it's morning till I've been to bed and had my sleep. So, but another couple of hours, you know, that does it. It's all been quiet. How's things upstairs? I hear there was a bit of a shouting match between the missus and her daughter about the dresses and that women's stuff. I don't know.
Yes, unfortunately, there's been a few more falling outs, let's say. That's why I'm down here, actually. I've been talking to Emily, and she wanted me to make sure that all of the guards were kind of ready for the wedding and all of these guests. She's so nervous. She's worried something's going to happen on the day, and I wondered if I could just chat to you guys down here, or maybe, you know, we could go for a quick cuppa in the kitchen. I'm sure we'll be okay with that.
Oh.
It seems pretty quiet in the...
Yeah, you're telling me. Oh, don't know why they bother having us guard this stuff, you know. I mean, I do. It's it's proper procedure. I mean, if I was rich like them, I'd have people guarding my stuff too, I suppose. But it just seems a bit pointless sometimes when it's gone 2 in the morning. Bit tired. I could certainly take my break a little early and go have a chat with you. By all means, I can probably convince older couple of them to come with. We have to leave one person here at least, though. It's procedural, as you know.
Oh, yes, I expect you to leave the corridor completely unmanned. I heard rumours of some breakfast that had just been cooked in the kitchen as well. Shall we maybe go and put on a pot of coffee and we can talk through some of the things that Emily is concerned about? She was in quite a state when we saw her last night. I'd like to be able to put her mind at rest today. We don't want any more arguments between each other.
Oh, no. No. Although, from what I heard, they're not going to stop any time soon. I mean, they've been arguing non-stop since this whole wedding thing started. I mean, we don't really keep abreast of it down here. We tend to just do as we're told and ignore it. But, you know, gossip spreads and sometimes it does liven up a long night.
Yes, I can only imagine. Poor thing, you've been here for such a long time. I'm going to try and, shuffle down the corridor with him and try and encourage him along with me.
Okay. So you're heading him, towards everybody else so you can go round the corner and get to the kitchen.
Did you want to invite any of these guys up for a coffee? And I'm going to show him my my wine pouch and maybe a little nightcap for the end of your shift.
Appricity offers wine bribe. Notes. Okay. The guy's eyes sort of light up tiredly at the thought of wine. Oh, well, that's mighty nice of you. As I say, we'll have to leave someone. We have to pick. Well, I mean, Leo only just got on a couple of hours ago, so. I mean, we should probably take Thomas, shouldn't we? He's been here all night with me. He's done the last 3 nights in a row, and I had yesterday off, I suppose. So, yeah, Thomas will be the one. We'll leave Leo down here. I mean, I don't mind swapping if he wants to come up and have a nightcap later, of course. So, yeah, we'll bring Thomas with us.
Yes, I've got many things that I'd like to draw out with you. I've got some parchment in my pocket, so we could perhaps draw some maps. Let's head to the kitchen where there's a table that we can lay these things out on.
Oh, yeah, good idea. Right, come with me then, little miss. And he leads you around the corner and you reach the door that you know goes to the armoury and the treasury. And outside there's a guard stood there. He's actually leaning on the wall. He is keeping alert and he's looking out, but he's sort of leaning on the wall with his arms folded, one leg up, all his armour on, but his helmet's lifted up over his head so he can look around more easily. And the guard you're with calls out to him, "All right, Leo, all quiet still?" Oh yes, Warman's still with. I'll say he's with Varic for now. Warman can be back. And the guard sort of looks up and he says, "Alright, I'm just taking my break. Seems all quiet down here. I've had a look around the corner. All seems quiet still. Just gonna take Thomas for a quick, maybe not nightcap, maybe just a quick drink. We're gonna talk about some stuff. The miss upstairs wants us to go over some wedding bits and that. So, just carry on as you were." Leo nods and sort of looks vaguely suspiciously at you, but in the manner that his friend is treating you, sort of just nods and lets you walk past. As you head on past, you see another guard who walks round the corner, clank, 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 and the guard you're with says, Thomas, come take your break with me. We're gonna go out with this little miss. She's chatting to us about some things from upstairs. The missus wants us to wedding sort out this, that, the other. She's got wine though, so there's perks. And Thomas sort of stops and he gives him a look of sort of and rolls his eyes and he says, That'll be the third time this month we've had to hear wedding stuff. Oh, that better be some good bloody wine. I'm so sick of this bloody wedding. I mean, I'm very happy we weren't down here because we had to bloody hear about it, for fuck's sake. Sorry. And he looks at you. No offence, of course. No offence. I know it's not you. It's never the messenger, is it? It's always them upstairs. This is why I always sign up to work down here. You don't have to deal with any of that nonsense. Alright, where are we going? Kitchen. There's no one bloody in there, of course. And the guard you're currently with says, yeah, that's where we're thinking too. Yeah. You lead the way, Thomas. Alright. And Thomas trots off ahead and clink, 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 clink. Varic, you'll probably hear all of this because it's just round the corner really, and you hear them clank off and head on up the other spiral staircase, which you know goes to the kitchen. And you are ever so slightly jealous that they're going to the kitchen, and a part of you goes, there's food in there.
Well, I do know that the kitchen raided earlier tonight, so
Yeah, that's true.
there's some solace in that.
As we start to go up the stairs, I'm going to call back to, was it Leo, did you say? And I'm going to shout that we'll let him know when the coffee is freshly brewed so that he can come and get a cup.
Thanks. Nice to know. Thank you.
And I'll go up with the two cups.
Okay, and you guys clank up the stairs. Okay, so while they are going up the stairs to the kitchen, Varic, what are you going to be doing?
Well, there's now one guy left down, right?
Yep, there's a guy called Leo, and he is the one with the sword, and he's stood leaning on the wall. He's still alert, he's looking around, but he is leaning on the wall just in front of the armoury door. Well, it's the armoury and the treasury, but the armoury's up front, so...
Is he pacing back and forth, or is he just like
No, he's
on one
just stood.
spot?
He's just stood leaning, sort of, leaning as if he's been on shift for a couple of hours, and he's like, you know, a bit bored.
Varic, Wyman is going to jump up onto your shoulder and nibble at your ear and cock her head at you, and then fly down the corridor at the guard, and then start to make lots and lots of noise kind of at the bottom of the kitchen stairs to see if she can draw that guard just to look around the corner and stop paying attention to the corridor for a minute.
Okay.
I'll take that time, that small window of time to sneak past where he's standing and maybe into the armoury.
Roll me a stealth check. Okay. Well, he definitely heard the noise, and... Oh! Okay, yep, he's definitely going to go and investigate the noise. He...
Wait, what? Wait, I don't see a message.
Huh?
Did you message about what you rolled?
What, Rosie?
Well, did anyone send messages? Because I don't get anything anymore.
No, I put Wyman still hidden on the staircase.
Yeah.
The last message.
Yeah.
I enjoy my stuff. It's fun.
That's okay. Woman's not going to have to roll to make noise because she's trying to make the noise. Basically, I just rolled for him to see if he would pay attention to it, and then if he'd want to go and investigate it, how tired he was. He is going to head on off, and you'll hear clank, 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 clank down the corridor, and you get the impression maybe he's finally thinking, oh, something to do. God, I would love a fucking intruder right now. In fact, you hear him say that. He's going around the corridor like, oh, please be a fucking burglar. That would make my night. And you hear him like go clank, 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 clank round the corner. And you hear him, oi, what's going on? And that is your window. Your stealthy stealth, so he doesn't hear you and he doesn't notice you. You get to the armoury door.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm. You going in, or are you... Mm-hmm.
I'm going in.
Okay, going in.
I'm going in.
Okay, the door to the armoury is...
Carefully going.
You can carefully go in. The door to the armoury is unlocked because of the guard, and because sometimes the guards themselves go in to exchange weapons and things. So within the armoury itself, okay, so you're in the armoury now, and it's it's not a very wide room, but it's long. So it's got lots of sort of metal brackets on the walls where weapons are held. It's got boxes and chests where weapons are stored. It's got almost a little shoe rack that goes across each wall where like the guards like what are armoured shoes called? Like plated feet? Armoured shoes, guard shoes, those ones. They've got like rows of those.
Food greaves.
Yes, that's the word I was looking for. So you see there's several pairs of those. And there's actually a little box with like some socks in it as well.
It's a Sabaton.
You can see some gambesons. You can see spears on the walls. You can see some swords, various different lengths, most of them sort of like long swords, several short swords as well, and everything has its place. So as you walk in, you see this is where it almost seems like guards would walk down to the very other end and work their way up. So towards the door there are bits of the grooves to go on your feet. There are extra gloves and gauntlets and things. There are helmets. Further down than that, you can see there's some breastplates, some shields. Not many shields actually. And you can also see then there's some swords, there's some spears. Again, and they've all got like the Marksis crest. Either on the breastplate or on the feet. You can see it engraved into the sword, some short swords as well. You can see daggers, the box of socks right by the door, and then down the other end there are the gambesons and like undergarments and things that you can put on. There are some arrows as well. There's a few, not many, again not many. There's a few bows as well strung up on the wall. But it's like a long room full, like probably about 40 feet long this room, while only being about 10 feet wide.
But those bows are probably worse than mine, so...
Probably, yeah. It's it's like, basically it's like a long locker room, if that's an easy way to describe it. It's got no lockers, but it's like got the benches going along it, and then where people would hang up the stuff, just going all the way along, like one massive long locker room.
Okay, first off, I'm trying to get the stuff that people ask. So the helmet, a small knife or a dagger or something. It's easy to hide. Those kinds of things. And some armor that looks somewhat like assassin-y, if that's there.
Okay. So what's the first thing you wanted?
A helmet.
Okay,
for Verti.
Helmet for Vertharitas. Okay. Bearing in mind he's got horns. So you find the biggest helmet you can find, which has like a strap underneath, so it's like adjustable. And yep, so you can get a helmet for Verti. It's quite large. Again, it has the Marksis crest emblazoned on the front, like carved into it. But it's big enough. It looks like it'll fit his head, his horns, etc., and it will attach underneath. What else are you looking for?
Some small weapon that can be easily hidden for Reedoo.
Okay, roll me investigation for that one.
Uh-huh. 17.
Okay, cool. Alright, I'm going to use your investigation and say, okay, you managed to find some daggers, and although most of them are quite big, within the lineup you find two that are very small, like the smallest throwing daggers you've ever seen. Again, they have the Marksis crest on the blade, but you find them and that's okay. I'm going to say with your investigation roll, you can find pretty much everything else anyone asked you for that was in the armoury anyway. So anything that would be weapons or helmets, etc. You can find in
So the assassin style armor
now,
for...
the problem with the assassin armor is everything in here has the Marksis crest on it, including any tabards and things. So there are bits and pieces of armor that may well be worn by an assassin, and you know, if you add them all together, but they all very clearly have the Marksis crest on them.
So that doesn't really...
I mean, it could. I mean, you could cover them potentially, but it's engraved in. So if someone looked at it, they may well recognise it as Marksis armour.
Which, on the other hand, could also be like taunting them. Going, heck, our assassin even took the time to take your armour
Well,
and use it against you.
Potentially.
So I'm bringing the armour that looks assassiny, even just to have the option of using it.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say you can
and
get
arrows
parts and stuff.
for Appricity.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Okay, how many arrows did you want?
As many as possible.
Okay.
And it's a short bow because I am a short person.
Okay. There aren't that many. There aren't that many for short bows. There's probably about 10 that you can find.
10 arrows for Appricity. And you said that they were throwing arrows.
Yes.
Can I have a few for myself?
Of course you may. You can get 3 that would be suitable for you, I think.
3 throwing daggers. Awesome.
Okay. Meanwhile, while you're just having a look around for all the things, I'm going to cut back to the room and say, if they're still there, Arissa, Reedoo, Vertharitas, him and Emily, what are you guys getting up to? Shuffling. Frantic shuffling.
Apparently so. Well, just kind of what we were doing earlier. Vertharitas is playing music, and I am making Emily look more like Reedoo.
Reedoo. Okay, so starting with that one, are you using you've got a disguise kit, etc.?
Yes.
Marvellous. Okay, in which case, let me just have a look, see.
There are 2 disguise kits in case I need one for each person.
Awesome. Well, I mean, they're not single use only, so I would say you should be. Okay. That's not in here. Excellent. Okay, well, I'm just going to look this up and find it. Okay, well, I'm going to say, roll me a d20. Do it with advantage because you're using the kit. I'm thinking what you'd roll for. I think just roll me a d20 but with advantage for using the kit, just in general. Just
a straight d20.
Yeah, but do it with advantage because you're using a kit, because...
The other one I got was a 13.
Ironing flags, love it. Okay, yeah, 14 is cool. So, starting with Emily. Before Reedoo transforms herself, of course, you manage to sit there with the flame dancing and Reedoo sort of sighing in front of you, like, and occasionally sort of saying, "Don't move, stay still." And Emily sort of smiling at you, sits perched on a little chair in front of you, and you take your time, and over about half an hour you're going to be painting and sculpting and adding things.
So this is the marijuana that Skype what? Vertharitas, I think you need to mute yourself.
It's practically flagging. So you are fairly successful. She doesn't look the spitting image of Reedoo, but the likeness is definitely there. She would definitely pass for Reedoo to someone who hadn't spent a lot of intimate time with her. You managed to do something amazing with the hair and sort of add texture and colour to it and just change it all around. And the clothes are different, obviously, but the face, like down to the freckles, are like, you know, within a centimetre of each other. And yes, headphones sometimes have mics. It's great. Well, intimate time with Reedoo sounds like an oxymoron. Basically, anyone who hadn't really met her for a longest period of time. Yeah, anyone who'd sort of seen her with you but not, you know, spoken to her for a long time and had a chance to really, really look at her they'd probably buy it. Love hearts. Okay, so what were you going to do to him then?
To him?
Yeah. Or were you not doing anything to him? Was he just going to leave as he was? Because they have, at this point, they will be at the same point they are now, so they'll have just got through. You guys won't know this, but they'll have just got through to the Armoury. Well, Varic has. So you could spend another half an hour doing him if you wanted to do something to him, or are you just leaving him as he is? Why did I name an NPC him?
It's better because if he's left as himself, then that might cause suspicion. Because they'd be like, he loves Emily, why is he leaving?
Alrighty. So, you can roll again and do a second one. So what would you like to disguise him as? Anyone in particular, or just change him so he looks different?
Yeah, just change him so he looks different.
Drag queen, drag queen, drag queen.
Yes, queen!
We'll see how well I roll.
I think that might, you know, make him more noticeable, surely.
Yeah, true. Okay, so I got an 11 with advantage.
I'm gonna say you can either do a very shoddy drag queen, or you can make him look a lot older than he currently is.
I thought that we said that we'd leave him as it is because he wouldn't be very conspicuous if he was just in town with us, because, you know, everyone knows that.
The thing is, if he's leaving town with us, that might cause suspicion.
But he could race after her when she's kidnapped.
Or, if he left town before the kidnapping occurred, then he couldn't have his name put in as a suspect. Maybe, if, like, we made a big thing about him leaving. Fuck it, she doesn't love me anymore, I'm going, and he, like, storms off towards somewhere.
On the other hand, that could also just be specific enough to give them reason to.
Yeah,
this discussion might have happened earlier.
Yeah, this is
part of the
probably
planning.
This is Arissa sitting there thinking, what were we talking about earlier?
She's ready the makeup sponges, like, do I make him up? Do I not? What? Let me just replay the entire conversation in my head.
Meanwhile, him's just sitting there staring at me, just like...
Arissa is in that blank face state of mind now.
She's just gazing into, like, a sconce on the wall.
Meanwhile, in the background, Vertharitas has started playing a very bow chicka wow wow song, almost by accident, and he's just watching the flame dancing to it.
So yeah, that's the conversation.
Back to the conversation that you're remembering from last night. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So what have we decided?
I don't know. Well, maybe in our conversation that we've already had, we could have asked him.
Yeah.
Because we could have asked him, like, if he has any family that are known elsewhere, or, you know, is there anywhere that it would make sense for him to be going, and he could use that alibi and then fuck off and like make.
could we ask you if there's any reason why? Well, is there anything that he could use as a reason to not be present for the wedding, but then say that he'd come back to protect her because he wouldn't really just leave her alone, would he?
Maybe he could go and collect the prince who's meant to be travelling in.
Oh, that.
So, like, he could be out on a mission, and then I don't know, the mission has failed, or I don't know, follow that through.
He accidentally murdered the prince.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's supposed to make him look less suspicious, guys.
How about we say that we received news that there's, I don't know, like a monster around, and we're taking him with us for a day, like hunting adventure and whatnot. So it makes sense for us to leave the town as well.
we know that there's
As in
those.
for you. Sorry?
There's those werewolves in that settlement that we came through. We could use that as, because if anybody then went out, there are werewolves there right now.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually, did their bodies get harvested? Was it just their souls? It was their souls, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
Got distant family in Port Arm.
Hang on, where's my map? Wasn't Port Arm where we were going to send them though?
It's on the west coast. It's the port that goes to Arissa.
Yeah, I think that is where we were gonna send them, because we were heading slowly.
Yeah, I thought we were going to send them the opposite way to us because then they've got transport out of Orson.
Yeah.
Unrelated, but the Bothwell student handbook is now available.
I know, I saw.
That's very exciting.
To everyone listening, we encourage you. There's still tickets available for some of the events. Come to them. If not, come to 2019. Meet people like us. Come and meet your D&D heroes from the internet.
Yeah.
Yes!
You know, from that one D&D group.
Yeah, that definitely there's only one D&D group on the entire internet. And we are it.
We're super famous.
Woo! Alright, so the plan is currently to not disguise him then, yes?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to send them off together somewhere in some direction.
Can I talk to her before?
Yeah.
Right. So can you tell me about your mother and your relationship, please?
Oh, because you're going to have to be me at some point, potentially, yes. Well, it should be fairly easy at the moment. No offence. I didn't mean it like that, but basically things are strained between me and my mother, so it's not too hard to act out, I suppose. She wants the wedding to go ahead, talks about almost nothing else, ignores anything I say to the contrary, and just talks over me, assuming that she can just get her point over. And I tend to not really talk very much anymore. She occasionally takes me out when we have to go to a function or to go to things, but other than that, we don't really communicate very much. It's not very nice, but I suppose it makes things easier on you.
So you said you have another dress fitting, whatever you guys call them?
Yes, we're going to another one in town tomorrow. Wonderful. Yes, because the dress I was trying on yesterday was just not meeting Mother's perfectionist standards, so we were going to take that dress back and get it redone and refitted, but I get the impression Mother may make them make an entire new one, because of course that is Mother's way.
Okay, how do you address her?
Mother, and at the moment, usually in a slightly annoyed tone of voice, I suppose.
I think I'm upset. Thank you.
I like it. Short and to the point, I like it.
Oh, and you're welcome.
Oh, thank you. I do appreciate everything you are all doing for us, especially you. I hope you'll be careful, as me. It can get ugly in town. A lot of people don't like me very much.
Oh, I can put up with those people in town. Don't you worry about me, hon.
Well, the population of Crownside doesn't know what's about to hit it, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. If only someone dares to approach me.
Well, usually the guards keep them back, but usually there's abuse and, well, depending on pardon me for saying it, but depending on the level of intelligence on the person in question, sometimes it's very ridiculous insults and sometimes quite hurtful. So, but of course you're not really me, so I don't think they should hurt you too much with their words. At least, just make sure.
Yes. I can have it with you.
Just make sure you duck if they start throwing tomatoes again. It's a devil to get out of your hair.
Thanks for the tip.
No problem. And so,
okay, I turn around and walk away. If he's still talking, I don't really care.
That's okay.
Sorry.
So you turn and walk away, and you are met with another disgusting sight, which is Vertharitas having moved to a much closer armchair, sitting very, very close to the fire, sort of gazing intently at this dancing naked lady, and playing a sort of slow and sort of cheesy jazz song.
If the fire fae had clothes, he would be undressing her with his eyes.
Yep. Yep.
Basically.
Now he's doing all kinds of other things with it.
And I assume he subtly moves his guitar behind his lap.
Yes.
As is not here to argue against this.
Verti, if you don't reply, we just assume that this is true.
Yeah, we just assume the worst.
Which we always do.
Sorry, accidentally threw my tablet across the room.
Well, you're accidentally doing way more than that in game.
I heard something about suddenly moving the guitar.
Yes,
The lady is dancing to the smooth, jazzy vibes that you're playing with.
and you're to quote a beautiful quote just now, if the flamey lady was dressed, you would be undressing her with your eyes, but now you're doing so much more with your eyes, and you've subtly moved the guitar over your lap while you're playing.
This will be entertaining considering there's people in the room as well.
Yeah. I can imagine
This is what happens when you do other things.
I can imagine his eyes are sort of pinky, reddy, lustful at the moment.
That'd probably be a different colour. Out of curiosity, has anyone else noticed the dancing yet?
Reedoo has, in fact, they've all noticed you staring at her. They're just sort of ignoring you and leaving you to it at the moment. But Reedoo has just turned around.
Concentrating. Thank you.
Yes, Arissa's concentrating. Well, she's finished concentrating now because she's realised that she doesn't have to do anything to him. So they're all sort of sat there for a few minutes after Reedoo walked away and Reedoo stopped and sort of is staring at you. They've all sort of stopped their conversation. They're all sort of watching you bemusedly, entertainedly, happily.
Can I use the 11-year-old to improve Emily's Reedoo impression?
Yes, yes, you may.
I shall do that then. I'll kind of look, notice what's going on, go, I don't like anymore, and then continue.
Be like, I've seen too many half-naked people today. I have heard some sex. I don't want to see anymore. Nope.
So it's like, this is too much.
It's too much for poor, innocent, sweet Arissa. No. It's terrible.
Right?
Okay,
Yes.
so you can...
Innocent.
Yes, totally. So you can touch up the face of you can touch up Emily's face and just have a re-go over the plan with them, not being 100% sure yourself, but just keep going over it and refreshing your brain. And while this is going on,
Pretending to know what's going on.
exactly, and while Reedoo is looking, is this the Paladin's mighty sword? Oh Christ. Yeah, you haven't seen his sword so far, just his warhammer. While all this is going on, I will jump back to Appricity and Varic.
I love it. It's like, okay, I'm done with this.
It's like, all right, we're talking about the paladin's penis. We're moving now. We're moving. It's fine. So, Appricity, you carry on the conversation in the kitchen with, you learn the first guard you met is called John Grobstitch, and the other one is called Thomas Swish, because I like the surname and I think it's fun. And they've both been
Flick.
Swish and Flick. And, oh man, I should have named the other one Flick. Never mind.
It could be Flick, you haven't told us that one yet.
Well, it's called Leo. He could be called Leo Flick, I suppose. I didn't give him a surname, I suppose. Alright, so we've got Leo Flick, Thomas Swish, and John Grubstitch.
Love it. Yeah, so with parchment rolled out on the kitchen table, like trying to get them to draw maps of where guards are going to be, because Emily's really concerned, whilst topping up their wine.
Excellent. I'll say, can you roll me a persuasion with advantage, just for keeping them chatting and things? But with advantage because you've got John still under charm person, and because he's so friendly to you, his friend is going to be naturally slightly more friendly to you as well.
Oh my god, I have a +0. I'm glad that was with advantage because I rolled a 2 and a 19. The wrong
Hey! That's alright then. Okay. Yeah, you manage to keep topping up the wine, you keep things casual, you're feigning interest but also concern, and you keep talking, and having spoken a lot with Emily, you manage to say a few things that she said to you, and they nod along as if they've heard her say things like that before, and you're just adding to this cover story, and they believe you, and especially with the charm pass, and and the wine is not going down amiss at all. They're very, very happy about this, and they keep occasionally going, make sure we get Leo some of this later, but later we should probably draw a map about this, and they keep thinking of random corridors they should probably draw, and sort of extending the wine time, as it were. Meanwhile, Varic, you have got everything you need from the armoury, and so in front of you you've got the door that leads to the treasury.
I want to leave the door to the armory on ever so slightly a crack, so that if anything happens, there's an easy way to contact, to listen in on the things that happen outside.
Alright, you can leave it a tiny bit of crack, and you heard the other guard, Leo, walk back to his place, but he didn't really seem to notice that the door was, it'd be so a tiny bit open, and he sort of investigated the noise. Has Warman flown back up to the kitchen, or did Warman come back to be with Varic?
No, she came back up into the kitchen with me because I wanted the guard to be drawn out, and then she'd just fly up and he'd be like, oh well, okay, I get.
In which case, Leo will have shouted up to you at some point, you making a mess up there?
No worry. We're just planning. The coffee's nearly ready. I'll give you a shout when it's done.
Alright, thanks. And he clank, 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 walks off again. Under the assumption that maybe you dropped something, or that was what the noise all was. So yes, Varic, you're in front of the treasury door. It is locked.
I have this very small animal trophy, which is the beak of a bird that I hunted back in the Forest of Mortal.
Uh-huh.
And I've used it before as a lockpick. Can I try that again?
Of course you may. So do me a dexterity check, please.
Oh. I'm so glad that it's dexterity. Oh, wait. I get lucky.
Okay, yeah. Haven't got lucky for a little while, actually.
That was a really lucky one as well.
Forget your troubles, come on, get lucky. You gotta take all your cares away. Oh!
24 actually. No.
Oh! That will only just do you. You needed a pretty high roll to get this baby off. But, okay, you managed to very carefully. It does take you a good 10-15 minutes because you're being so careful because this lock is big, ornate, fancy. It's like a very large padlock and it's very, it makes large clunking noises, like, and you have to stop and pause every second to make sure that no one's heard you, like it hasn't echoed on through the armoury and back up to the corridor. But eventually you manage to make it and the lock sort of clicks and it's open and you carefully lift the padlock off and put it down on the floor because it is quite heavy. If you just let it drop, it'll make a horrendous noise on the stone floor. And the treasury door swings open and you are greeted by a sight that... Has anyone seen that? Is it like Donald Duck when he dives into his gold pile?
It's Scrooge.
What's his name?
Scrooge, whatever his name was. That one. It's basically a big chamber. And it almost looks like there's a swimming pool. Like there's a hollowed out bit, which is where just piles and piles of gold are. It's not like insane, could take over an empire country gold, but it's more gold than you've ever bloody seen in your friggin' life. It's the gold of a true, rich, wealthy, powerful family. As you know, Karl Marksis is one of the king's royal advisors, so obviously is raking in a bit of the dough. And yeah, there's gold, there's silver, there's copper, there's there's quite a lot of that. And you can see it's like a big bank vault, so there's a lot of random bits and pieces. There's no weaponry in here that you can see. There's several paintings, some on the walls, some just propped up. You would notice this, they all have very special, ornate golden frames. Just putting it out there. You can also see lots and lots of gemstones. Some of them have been carved and made into shapes. Some of them are just hunks of gem. You can actually see some hunks of rock which look like they've literally been bored out of the earth. There's still rock and stone, but within them there's some gems and jewels, and it's just been lumped in here. You can see a few bottles scattered here and there, some jewellery. A lot of that is in sort of boxes and chests on the walls. And you can also see one very strange looking object that's sort of been thrown in at the very back. And it looks like, roll me investigation actually, because it's hard to tell what this is. I don't know how to describe it in a D&D setting.
Investigation is +1, making 15.
Okay, you have no idea what this object is, but it looks like some sort of mattress, maybe. It's about 6 feet long, maybe 2 feet wide. So a very single mattress, maybe, but it doesn't look like it's made out of springs. But that's a sort of, from the distance you can see it's on the far back wall, propped up. It sort of just looks like a weird mattressy thing, but other than that, everything else looks fairly, rich, wealthy things. Yes.
Okay. Is there anything that looks like special paperwork or something?
Not that you can see. No, the closest thing to paperwork would be the paintings and things. There's some large, some small, some sketchings and things. As you have a look and pore over them, they aren't sketches of, blueprints or anything. It's just some pencil sketches. A lot of them have been signed. You assume they're by local artists, or they're even potentially when an artist is planning a painting and they sell off the drawings they made while they are planning for them. A lot of people pay good money for those, you've heard in the past. So seems like quite an art collection.
I roll up as many as I can of those paintings and drawings, mostly the really expensive looking items.
Okay, so you're gonna cut them out of their frames.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
They're easy to bring along on lightweight, so those are
Okay, you can grab 9 of those.
Awesome. 9?
Yeah.
I'll write it down. 9 paintings. As many of the pricey things, as much of monetary value as possible. Then,
okay.
If it's all just monetary, and,
are you going to take actual money, or are you going to take jewelry that looks expensive and some jewels and stuff like gemstones?
What would look like the most value?
Well, the most obvious thing is the gold pile. The only thing being that you yourself don't have a bag of holding, do you?
Unless the bag with the dried beans is a bag of holding.
You can. I encourage you to try.
Can I stuff money in it just to see
sure,
how much
you
I can do?
Probably fit about 30-40 gold in it.
It's not a bag of holding. Okay, well, I stuff basically every bag that I have with money and the most, with as much monetary value as possible. So either gemstones or money.
Okay, are you taking the beans out when you put the gold in?
No.
No.
I didn't know what that noise was.
No, those dried beans seem important.
Well, they might
So,
not be.
yes, I am taking them out of the pouch that they were in.
Okay.
I'll put them in a separate pouch that I have tied to one of the straps that are across my chest.
Okay, so you put them in a little dinky bag. Well, technically it was Emily who offered you to stay there. No one else in the family did, and she doesn't seem to like them very much. So you could get out of this on a technicality. You're not too Sunday yet.
We haven't killed anyone yet, so we're all good.
No, exactly. You in fact, you have fed and watered them and brought them wine. So technically you're doing good deeds right now.
Paid for all of these riches. Talking about distracting those guards, how long have I been in here? How do I have?
You have probably got, considering the plan that you and Appricity made and how long she thinks she could hold out, you've probably got another 5 minutes at this point. I'm just going to tell you what you've managed to get, as well as the paintings I said earlier. You're going to get... I'm just going to type it for you as well because it makes it easier. So you've got 40 gold in the pouch.
40 gold, those go into my personal pile. 5 gemstones.
So you got 40 gold in your bag. You've got about 5 gemstones, quite big, quite chunky gemstones, so you can't carry too many. 3 quite pricey looking necklaces, a couple of rings, and a bracelet. Because there's not a lot else you can carry on you without starting to sound like a walking, jewelry shop. Ching, 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 clang, clang, smash, swish, swish, gold, 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 ching, ching, ching. Yeah. Okay, so is there anything else you wanted to look at?
Is there a small mirror or something?
Yes, actually, there is a little mirror, like a little hand mirror.
One small hand mirror. Thank you.
So, whilst he's doing his sneaky, I'm kind of like aware, because we'd planned how long he should be in there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of aware that I need to make another distraction soon.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of, finishing up talking to the guards and mentioning that maybe we should take some coffee to Leo downstairs.
Awesome sauce. Okay.
And I'll be getting ready to leave as well.
Okay. Okay. So, Varic, you head on back across the room. No, I'll tell you that later. Okay. You head on back across. Can you roll me a stealth check so you can get up to the door and sort of wait for the signal from Appricity? Varic giggles again. Okay. Yeah, so you stand, you sort of crouch in your roguish fashion by the crack in the door and watch, and the guard, who is called Leo Flick, he's standing sort of, like you hear a tink, because he's leaning against the wall, and you hear a sort of sigh of, and his helmet sort of tink as he leans his head against the wall and sort of looks at the ceiling, and then looks down each side of the corridor, looks back down the other side of the corridor, and again, he's sort of like, not quite directly in front of the door, but if you opened it, he'd spot you very easily. So, Appricity, the time approaches where you feel you, and Warman will help as well. Warman will sort of start to flutter and tweet, and you'll think, yes, this is about as long as we said.
I'm going to quickly pour some more wine into the two guards' glasses that are in the kitchen, and then suggest that I'm just going to pop down and tell Leo that the coffee's ready. And I'm going to walk about halfway down the stairs and shout, "Hey Leo, coffee's on, come and get a cuppa!" And then go back up, hoping that he follows me.
Alright. Okay. Leo, in his boredom, fan-fucking-tastic. And that's what you hear, Varic. And, coming, thank you! And he's going to walk to the other end of the corridor, actually, so away from the kitchen. And Varic, you see this. He walks towards the stairs you originally came up, and he peers down and has a good look, and then nods his head, walks back down the corridor, and then disappears round the corner to the kitchens, and he's calling, "Make it quick! I got a minute, if that."
Cool. I'm going to be pouring coffee, slowly.
I'll take this time to quickly run back to the stairs that I came from, so not the kitchen, but the other one.
Okay, cool. Make me another stealth check while you're running, please.
Oh yeah, stealthily running, of course. That's 23.
Oh, only just.
Oh shit.
Only just.
Only just seeing or just
No,
away?
only just got away with that because he rolled very high and then he added his perception, so you just got away with that. As you round the corner, you get to the spiral stairs, you ninja on up, and you streak back to the place where you came from, because that was your plan, I'm guessing, you get Varic out and then meet each other back at the room.
Yeah, he can head back on his own. That's kind of the plan. As soon as he'd got stuff, he needed to get back.
Cool.
So no one found him in the corridor.
Okay, yeah, that's fine, and you can head on back up. That's fine. Meanwhile,
last I noticed was that she got to go to the kitchen, so I'm going to the kitchen to meet her. Because kitchen.
Oh, okay.
But, like, carefully.
No,
Okay.
the plan was get the gold and fuck off back to the living room.
God damn it, Varic!
There was a kitchen involved. I'm sorry.
Yep.
This one's out of my hands.
Sounds good. Alright, So Varic, you, I'm going to use your stealth check to instead stash all the things about your person and stealthily follow around the corner. Leo gets halfway up the stairs and is calling, to be quick and things, and he only just misses hearing you behind him, like only by a whisker. Do you get away with that? And he gets up to the kitchen, but he doesn't come full in the kitchen. He sort of stands in the doorway and holds his hand out for the cup of coffee that you're holding and sort of says, "Oh, thanks. I'll get back down there if you don't mind. You lads hurry the fuck up. Come on, you've been up here for ages." And the other two, John and Thomas, are like, yeah, we'll be not long. Yeah, we'll be a little while. I mean, been on all night, treating ourselves. Yep, 2 minutes, if that. 5 tops. Yep. And Leo sort of shakes his head and holds his hand out for the coffee from you, Appricity.
I pass him some coffee and hold out the wine skin to him as well and offer him kind of, shrug my shoulders, want a sippy sip?
He has a think for a second and then takes a very quick sip and nods, holding his coffee, and turns around. Varic, are you coming up into the kitchen?
Not yet, because I hear her talking, I guess.
Okay. You can hear from the bottom of the stairs, but you're now going to hear that he is coming down from the stairs. So you hear him you hear clank, 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 and he's coming back down this spiral staircase, and he's going to be in your corridor in about 30 seconds. So what do you want to do?
Well, there's absolutely no chance that I'm still. So I guess that puts me off of the path towards the kitchen and away to the other side again as fast as possible.
Okay. Roll me another stealth, please, to run all the way back.
Okay. I love stealth.
Yeah, didn't do as well this time.
I did the same. 23 again.
23 again. Okay, well, he didn't do as well, so you have, it's almost like you're wearing little slipper socks, like you go along the floor. Are you going to hide around the corner and wait and go back to the kitchen again, or are you going to go back to the room this time? What do you think?
I'm going up the stairs and possibly towards the kitchen across the top floor.
Okay.
If that's possible.
It's longer, but it is possible. So
I do that, but the way that I think that I would meet Appricity if she was to go back to the room that we left at the beginning.
Okay, cool.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah, you can do that. So, Appricity, what are you getting up to? You've given the coffee, the guard's gone down. As far as you can tell, Varic has gotten away with it. The other two are starting to sort of, better get back down, I suppose. Oh, can't look at any more bloody maps or talk about that fucking wedding anymore. Yeah, all that fucking wedding. Oh, weddings. Oh, I'm never proposing to anyone as long as I live. If I never have to see anything to do with a wedding, it'll be too soon. I feel you there, mate. Come on, let's get going. Thank you though, little miss. Thank you so much. And do pass on our enthusiastic comments to Emily upstairs, and make sure they all know we are happy, prepared to guard and protect, and it'll all be bloody fine. Just calm them down.
I appreciate your time, lads, and luckily for you, this wedding will be over soon, so you won't have to hear any more about it. Is this the quickest way back to Emily's quarters? And I'm going to point the way along the top floor rather than going back down by the armoury.
Oh, yeah, actually, better than going back on yourself, I suppose. You go that corridor, keep going to your right, and just make sure you don't wind up in the Lord and Lady Marksis' corridor. That this early in the morning, they will not be pleased.
Cool. Thank you for your time.
Right,
I hope the rest of you.
anytime, just hopefully not again.
Wine flask at them.
Cool. They have more sips and pick the spears up and clank, 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 walk off back down the stairs, and you hear them having a conversation with Leo back down the stairs. And so you and Warman head on back through the corridors. It's probably now getting close to about 4:45 a.m, something like that. And you head on back and are found and met by Varic, and the two of you are going to head on back up to the room unless there's anything else you want to do in the castle before everyone else is awake.
I want to give her a few things.
Cool.
Two rings and a bracelet that I stole from Treasury.
Aw, thanks, buddy.
Well, you helped, so I have those for you, and the arrows. And I found a few of these, and I thought you'd like them.
How many did you say there was, Rosie? 10?
10.
Yes, 10.
Okay, sorry, I made a note. Cool. Thanks, Varic. That was pretty good going. Did you find any documentation down there, like we asked about? Like we chatted about even?
I was looking for it, but it seemed like they have that somewhere else, if they have it at all.
Don't worry, we might have time to frame that bastard before we leave.
Talking about frames, I did find a few of these. Showing like the 6 small paintings.
Oh, Varic. I thought you liked the gold shiny thing that went around the outside of those.
Yeah, but these have signatures and people pay for those.
Let's head back up and let Emily know how much we've got. I think it would be good for them to have some money on the road.
Yeah, that's why I took the paintings. I think these sell for more shit like that. Well, they need it.
I'm going to go into my bag and pick out the last pie that I have and just give it to Varic as a well done.
Thank you. It was good working together like this. We should do that more often.
Okay, honey, if you give me shiny things, I will always give you food.
In that case, I pull out one of the gemstones.
No. I will gratefully accept it and make a mental note to always give Varic food at any chance in the future.
Awesome. You just got...
In that case, goal accomplished.
Appricity now has a gemstone, green coloured, worth approximately, just from looking at it, you think it's approximately 10 gold.
Awesome. Thank you, Varic.
You're welcome. Can I take one gemstone for myself as well before handing possibly handing the rest?
Would you like blue, pink, fiery orange, or a sort of black?
Ooh, black.
Black. Okay. And Varic, one black diamond worth approx 20 gold.
Ooh, black diamond sounds cool.
Yeah, that's why I chose it. That sounds so fucking epic.
Cool. You want to see how the makeovers are getting?
Yeah.
And give the flamey one to the Vertharitas. I'm kidding. Okay, so yeah, you guys head on up, you get back through, you open the door and are met by the sight of him looking perfectly normal and having an interesting conversation where he keeps sort of blinking every time he looks at what you assume is Emily, because it's a Reedoo who looks like Reedoo, just different sort of body shape, slightly younger and scrawnier, but not in a horrible way, in a sort of, leader's daughter, slender, whatever way. And the odd freckle, which is slightly out of place, but not entirely noticeable. So you've got two Reedoos, and you actually walk in while there's some hushed voices going on, and people are sort of looking sideways at Vertharitas, who is pulled his armchair up really close to the fire and is playing sort of an intense guitar dance medley thing as the flame girl is dancing away.
I'm going to look from one Reedoo to the other and just kind of Oh god, there's two of them now.
Double trouble.
And then I'm going to go and settle myself on a comfy chair.
Marby. Sure, roll me stealth, and Arissa, roll me perception.
No, but like, so that the rest of the group doesn't notice it. It's perfectly fine if Arissa notices it.
Oh, okay. In which case, just roll me a sneak.
Either way, I'm probably not going to notice.
No,
I'm definitely not.
Arissa, or Gina, I have +7 to stealth, so the only way that you would have noticed it was if I rolled a nat 1.
Or if I rolled a nat 20.
Oh yeah, or you a nat 10. Oh well.
I have a -1 to perception anyway, so...
She's a special snowflake. Okay, so Varic, you managed to sort of, while everyone's distracted by watching the intense tiefling guitar, you sort of sneak around the room and get on over to Arissa.
I brought you a gift, and I hand her the small mirror.
I think I just kind of go, oh, Varic! Oh, I didn't see you come in. Oh, you made me jump. A gift!
Yeah, I found it somewhere in the castle. Well, why not bring it to you?
When you say found it, do you mean found it, or do you mean you stole it?
There may have been a locked door in front of it, but I did find it.
I mean, I don't care if you stole it, but just be honest with me.
It wasn't mine before I found it. Let's put it like that.
Okay, I take it, and I hold it up to just kind of look at it. Ooh.
Okay.
And then I just, hand Arissa the armor, but more obvious because people are allowed to see this. Going like, well, maybe you could make an assassin outfit out of this for, later today.
Ooh. I kind of take the armor and I look over it and go, seamstress. I'm getting into character.
Okay. From what you guys can see of this armour, it does look good. It looks like the different pieces an assassin would wear, but the only problem is that they're all very clearly emblazoned with the Marksis family crest.
Do you have any sandpaper?
We have horns of a tiefling. I don't know if that works.
He's busy.
Guitar strumming intensifies.
Do not disturb him.
But I brought him a gift. I'll wait.
Yeah, good idea.
In that case, I give Reedoo the 2 very, very small, easily hidden throwing daggers.
Okay.
Oh.
Thank you, Varic.
You're welcome. And I hand I hand him and the other Reedoo the 3 remaining gemstones. 2 small paintings and 1 necklace. I found a few things for you guys. Maybe that can help you when you get away from this city and have a wedding to fund and everything. I thought I'd give you a little gift.
Oh, wow! I haven't. And Emily's going to look at some of the paintings and go, I haven't seen these in years. Mother does have a habit of getting bored of things and just throwing them in the vaults and then getting new. Oh gosh, they're so beautiful. And of course we got them signed by the artist, so they would be worth some money. And him is looking over the gems in the necklace and saying, thank you. This could certainly help us. I have no way to repay you that I am aware of as of yet. Please do think of something and let me know.
There's absolutely no need for payment.
Oh, well, doing things out of the goodness of your heart is one thing, but you are deserving of it, to say the very least. If you think of anything at all, do let me know.
Okay, but keep in mind I didn't do it on my own. I had Appricity's help as well. Without her, I wouldn't have been able to sneak past them.
Oh, of course. I mean, and he says to all of you now, he says, I extend this to all of you, of course. Whether or not our plan today succeeds, we are still ridiculously in your debt for attempting to help us. We could not thank you enough until the end of our days.
There is one thing you could do for us, him.
Oh.
When it is safe enough and you are settled and happy, I would like for you to get word to us somehow to let us know how you've gotten on. And maybe one day in the distant future we could meet up and share a dinner together.
Ooh, dinner.
So, of course, that sounds like the most wonderful, Emily includes, wonderful thing ever. Is it, so we'd be, you're Colonel Eclipse, yes? Are you easy to track down?
I'm sure we'll be making a name for ourselves in the future months and years to come.
And we shall listen out for it intently and tell as many as we can of your great and noble deeds, especially involving us. Although, probably... Oh, darling! And him says, oh, yes, of course, we think it probably best that we change our names after this occasion, so you may get a letter signed by people who are not us, but who are us, if that makes sense. I'm sure you will. From the contents of the letter, I'm sure it will probably make sense. If all this goes ahead and works, we shall be donning new identities forever.
That sounds like a good idea.
If you can send us a letter that says the weather is fine in Armoury and sign different names at the bottom, we'll know who it's from.
I believe that is something we could definitely achieve. And so, it is now getting close to 5 a.m. You have readied the assassin armor. You have made a second Reedoo. You have seen a grumpy tiefling get happy. And as the dawn is slowly coming upon you and you prepare to have an intense day of plans coming together, you've successfully achieved, let's tick them off and give you all a gold star. Part 1, Part 2, Part 3 and Part 4 of your 8-part plan has happened. So I'm going to say we will leave it there for this evening. And I will, once we come off stream, I will be giving you some XP, etc., etc. But for now, I will say tatty bear to the recording, and we will sort out all of this. And next time we will start with part 2 of the 8-part plan, as in the second half of the 8-part plan. It makes more sense. Part 4, part 5 of the plan.
The bit that's most like fuck up. Let's call it that.
Yeah, exactly. We'll start with that and see what happens. It'll be marvelous. It'll be amazing. So, thank you anyone who watched us. It was probably a bit of a weird one tonight. Usually there's plenty going on. Just it depends. There wasn't as much chaos as there could have been tonight. It was very well. See, this is what happens when you make a plan. It all goes surprisingly well sometimes. and we will see you in a couple of weeks' time for episode 17, when the plan shall come together. So thank you for listening and thank you for playing. I love you all immensely, and I'm going to stop recording now. So Taddy Bear to the recording.
Tatty Bear!
Tatty Bear!